All right, here we go. China Mac, welcome back.
Back. I'm back. I'm back, baby.
Looking a little more tatted than last time.
Yeah, shout out the Red Demon tattoo, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Got some more ink. I was going to say, man, in a little while, you look like a triad member with your whole body tatted up.
Right, I'm about to get my head tatted.
Yeah. You're going to be nice and scary out here.
I'm about to be looking like a triad member, you said, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, a bunch of stuff happened since last time. Yeah. And the most recent thing is in Houston during 50 Cent's Tycoon Weekend. Mm-hmm. Z-Ro got attacked by Trae the Truth's entourage, specifically his brother, I believe. And the video that surfaced actually showed Z-Ro on the ground kind of covering up while the other dude was like hitting him and then kind of getting up and trying to rush him and then so forth.
Yeah.
Z-Ro actually did a couple interviews, one on TMZ and one with a local radio station, TV station, where he talked about it. And then Trae the Truth also responded to it. You followed the whole situation.
I seen some of it, yeah.
Yeah. What is your take on that?
Well, first of all, before I say that, what did Trae the Truth say? I didn't hear what Trae the Truth said.
Trae the Truth, well, Z-Ro said that he was like ambushed, essentially.
I seen what he said.
Trae said it wasn't an ambush. It was, there was issues that's going back 10 years.
Right.
And, it should have been resolved beforehand, but it didn't. And, after the situation, the two of them, him and Z-Ro had a talk for like 2 hours and so forth.
Right. Okay.
But a lot of people are unhappy about it.
Right. I didn't follow it too much, but when I saw the clip of him and Z-Ro on the news talking about it, I was just like, I was kind of baffled by that. I didn't understand that. Like, I didn't understand why he was on the news talking about it.
Why Z-Ro was on the news talking about it.
I really didn't understand that.
Well, I mean, originally it was TMZ. I think a lot of people, they saw just a small clip of it, right? When you saw him covered up on the ground, which doesn't make him look in a good light. Obviously.
Right, but why do you go on the news and talk about that though? Like, it isn't. I don't really understand that. Like, if somebody beat me up, I'm not gonna go on the news and talk about it. Like, that's basically, you might as well just go to the precinct and talk about it.
Well, he's not pressing charges.
Yeah, but still, like, I just think certain things ain't for like, everybody. Like,
Well, if he went on his own Instagram page and addressed it, you think that'd be different? Because it's the same end result.
Right.
If someone, if the authorities wanted to somehow take the case up, it doesn't matter where he's talking about it, whether it's Channel 5 or Instagram, they're still going to do it. I seriously doubt Houston PD is going to somehow take this case up.
I understand that, but I just don't feel like, I don't feel like all of that. It just, you had all the cameras on them and it was just like a big media type of thing about that. And I just didn't understand why it went that route. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like if they was family and they had all this prior, like, relationship and stuff like that, they could have just handled that themselves. You know what I mean? I just didn't really understand it. I couldn't understand that. Maybe I don't know too much about it, but I just looked at it and I'm just like, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why he was on the news talking about it.
Well, I'm glad that there is some discussion around it, because a lot of times situations like that, when they don't get addressed, you just have anger that continues to simmer.
Right. But they could have addressed that themselves, though.
Well, it seemed like they did, right? According to Trae, they got on the phone for 2 hours right after it happened.
Right.
But the reality is that these are all public figures as well. Not so much Trae's brother, but definitely Z-Ro and Trae. And Z-Ro is probably feeling like, I'm looking crazy out here, looking like I'm just covering up while some dude is hitting me, when he has a reputation of being a gangster and, being involved in certain types of things over the years. I've interviewed him before. I like Z-Ro. I know Trae as well.
Right.
Me and Trae have done interviews.
Like Trae is like he does a lot of stuff for the people, for the communities and stuff. It's just, I really don't follow them too much to understand the whole, what's going on over there. But I know when I saw him on the news, I didn't understand that. And then I just clicked out from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, these guys are all getting older. Z-Ro is probably in his 50s at this point.
Right.
Trae is probably in his 40s.
Uh-huh.
But do you expect them to go shoot it out afterwards?
No.
That would be dumb
not.
on everyone's part.
I don't think so. But I don't think, I don't think it should have been on camera then if it was like that. You know what I'm saying? If you know you're gonna do that to him, then why don't no cameras? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just catch him and just beat him up and that's it. Like, I don't understand.
Well, they weren't specifically filming it themselves when it happened because notice it happened. Think about it. This is like 50
It was
Cent.
outside a restaurant.
Yeah,
It
was like a bunch of people around, and someone just happened to catch it with a video camera. I don't think they purposely set him up for him to be filmed like that. I just think that the shit happened, and someone filmed it, which is usually what happens in public places these days.
Nah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean,
it's fucked up, man. It's two dudes that I feel are too successful, too established, too respected to be fighting each other like children at this point.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I don't know what exactly the beef is and so forth. Trae wasn't personally involved in it himself. I guess it was his brother.
But he said Trae punched him though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He said he said all that. Like, that's why I was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't understand that. He said Trae told him, yo, come outside. I want to talk to you. So he went outside. He said he was lured outside. And then when he went outside, he wasn't expecting to be, but then as soon as he turned around, he just punched him. And then next thing you know, he was like, he said Trae's the only person he remembers even hitting him. After that, he don't remember who hit him.
Huh. Fucked up situation, man. I don't like to see it happen. I've had multiple interviews with Trae and multiple conversations. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in about 2 years. But that's not for any other reason that we just haven't had a reason to speak to each other. He's done a lot of good, and I feel like situations like that put somewhat of a blemish on all the good that he ends up doing.
Of course.
He's like, didn't he meet with the president and Beyonce was working with him, and whenever there's a disaster in that area, Trae's usually the first dude out there.
Absolutely.
He's the one that actually says, yo, I'm the one that's actually going to help. I'm going to raise money. I'm actually going to put
But everybody makes mistakes, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because you do all that doesn't mean you're not going to make a mistake. You know what I mean? And, people make mistakes, like, or people get consumed with, whatever's going on, and they let they let their emotions or whatever else, take over. You know what I mean? And that's a human trait. Like, it doesn't take away nothing that he's done for the community and for the people. I don't think, not to me. You know what I mean? He made a mistake.
Yeah, listen, not to me either.
And maybe to me, I don't even know if to him he made a mistake. Maybe it was that serious that he had to do that. I don't know what it was about. I don't know, I don't really know too much about what happened.
Listen, unless Z-Ro somehow physically harmed him in the past or harmed somebody extremely close to him or something of that sort, and even then it doesn't sound like he himself was in physical danger from Z-Ro, because from what I understand, Z-Ro seems like the victim in this situation. Does not seem like the aggressor.
You can't tell a person how to take disrespect. However they take disrespect is how they take disrespect. He felt disrespected in whatever manner he felt. You know what I mean? Whatever happened, you might not feel disrespected, but you can't tell another man how to feel disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
True, I get it. And I remember I had 600 Breezy on my show recently.
Yeah.
And we talked about how...
Shout out to 600 Breezy, man. I need to come to Chicago with you to do a Mac East, man. What's up? Yeah.
Well, he doesn't live in Chicago anymore.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Oh, all right.
He moved out. Too much craziness over there.
And that's what. That's probably not going to happen then, huh?
But I remember...
We can go to New York.
There we go. There we go. But, we talked about disrespect. And I remember I said that there's nothing he could say to me at that moment that will make me physically react to the situation.
Right.
I don't care if he brings up my dead father or...
Yeah, but that's you though.
Right. And he said, and he was like, yeah, I don't think I have the same enlightenment that you do right now. He's like, you could say things that will trigger me.
Right.
And it just shows that we're in different places of our lives. Right now, as we sit across the room from each other, there is nothing that you could say out of your mouth that'll make me physically hurt you. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could say the most foulest shit. You can get some inside info. You could talk about my dead father. You could talk about whatever else.
Because you beyond that though. You bigger.
Yeah.
Than that.
There's nothing can come out of your mouth.
That's a level of maturity that some people don't
nothing,
have.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Because I'm a
can't
man
say
just like you.
Yeah, because I
Right?
can't say that because if so I ain't gonna reverse. You say something about my kids or anything, whatever.
You see what I'm saying? But
I'm-
for me,
You know what I'm saying?
for
Like,
me,
you
there
like,
is nothing you could utter.
yeah, 'cause you got
nothing.
too much to lose too. You look at it like that too. Like
Right.
you got too
I'm
much
49.
To lose.
You know what I mean? I got
Exactly.
20 employees. Like, you know what I mean? We have different things to lose. We're, there's an age difference. There is maybe a responsibility difference. I may have more responsibilities than he has at this particular
There's also
time.
a cultural difference.
There's also a cultural difference. Although I don't know, man. Culturally, Russians are kind of crazy.
No,
So-
I mean, but I'm talking about like in terms of like, I don't know if, Russians, if you say, oh, suck my dick, are you like the Russians that automatically have to kill you?
I'm sure there's a suck my dick equivalent for Russians somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, there's always something that will trigger a person. My whole thing is that, like, I remember I had this goal in my life, maybe about 10 years ago, where I said, I'm not going to get into any more physical altercations. That's it. I'm done. Like, I've gotten them in the past. I've won some. I've lost some. But moving forward, once I got into like my mid-30s, late 30s, I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to have security if I feel that I'm going into a place where there might be a physical altercation, or I just won't go.
Right.
And if things escalate, I am not going to escalate things along with them. I'm going to walk away and keep it moving. If the other person wants to talk shit afterwards, that's cool. Now if someone physically attacks me, then yeah, I'll have to react. But words, threats, whatever else, I'm not going to go along with it.
Mm.
You yourself are not like that.
Smart decision. I mean, it's a smart decision, but everybody can't make that decision. You know what I mean? Like, there's different things. I mean, not saying they can't, but everybody can't choose. Everybody won't choose to do that, because there's certain things that people feel violated, and then like, oh, you say that, everybody else is gonna look. So some people can't stomach that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think you're in a position where you couldn't stomach it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think the how you've built your brand and how you've built your personality and stuff, like, it's not like everybody's gonna be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Vlad didn't respond to that. But it's different if somebody said that, if somebody did the same thing to me, it's gonna have a different effect, or Trey the Truth or anybody else. You just don't, how you view disrespect, like I said, you can't kind of compare that. You know what I mean? How it's just two different things. Like, you can't tell a person how to, take disrespect. You know what I mean? It's just.
Well, I mean, you and AD went at it over disrespect. Just words. Right.
It wasn't words.
Well, words and actions.
Yeah.
But it's not like anything happened that was putting your life in danger or anything else like that.
I felt violated.
You felt violated in your own way, and he reacted in his own way, and you guys decided to beat up and fight.
Right.
The video never came out.
Right.
It never got leaked. Are you surprised, or did you think it was going to come out?
I'm surprised.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Yeah. I'm
usually
really
I get to see everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't leak. So I think that's actually
dope. I'm
I'm
not surprised, but I am surprised. You know what I'm saying? I'm not surprised because of, who was involved. Like, Nam, you know what I'm saying, from Hollow Tips. He's a man of his word, and it was the right people involved. So, but I am surprised because like that doesn't really happen anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah.
Well, the two of you actually became cool afterwards.
Yeah.
You guys did like a couple episodes of Mac Eats, or
right? Yeah, I'm gonna go on to his podcast this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't you say one of the captions was like, we steal AD from No Jumper or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
I'm assuming you didn't actually steal from No Jumper.
Oh no, we ain't steal from No Jumper.
So how is it after you guys fought? Like, what's the relationship now?
It's really good. Like I look at him like, you gotta understand, man. Like I've been in places where go in a cell and there's 2 of us in there or 3 of us in there, you know what I'm saying? And we wake up with each other, we got to take a shit in the same cell. Like, you know, it's just like, so we're going to have confrontation, especially if we don't respect each other. If you've never done anything for me to respect you, or we're going to have conflict, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know, a lot of times I had to fight, you know, to get that respect. But after you fight and you're forced to still be in the same space, you develop that respect. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, you know, people won't respect you until they see what you're made of. You know what I mean? They see that you will stand up for yourself. They see that you will fight. You know what I'm saying? And then they give you that respect. But before that, they might not give you that respect. You know what I'm saying? And then when you show that you deserve that respect, a relationship could evolve. And I wish more people could do that, because you never know. Like if you just kill, all right, you say something to me, all right, I'm gonna kill you, then it's over now. You know what I mean? My life is over, your life is over, everybody's life is over. But if we have a fight, you never know if, you know, if we can build a relationship after that. And sometimes the best relationships come from, you know, moments of you know, of stuff like that, fighting and, you know, beef, shit like that.
Yeah, I think it's dope that you guys actually are cool with each other. And I guess you both tested each other's limits.
Right.
You see what each other are made of.
Right.
You guys know
Yeah,
where
he
not
know
to
I ain't
go
no bitch.
with
I
each
know
other.
he ain't no bitch, and that's it. And then now it's like, you know, it's respect. Like when he pull up on me as respect, I pull up on him as respect. And you know, I think we have a good, you know, we have a good bond in the making. You know what I'm saying? Me and AD after that, and you know, I'm glad that happened like that. You know what I mean? Even though it was a bunch of other stuff and a bunch of crazy stuff, but I'm glad that happened like that. I wouldn't take that back.
How did the Asian community react to it? Because a lot of times, you know, we talked about this, how in Asian culture, men are not always confrontational. They try to get back at you in other ways.
Right.
But you actually physically stood up to
Right.
somebody, which you don't often see
Right.
with Asians.
Right.
So how did other Asian people take it?
I don't know. So I mean, some people took it like, okay, I could respect that, and then some people took it like, what are you, a child? Like, you know, like that. So it's really depends. It depends. But I feel like because people look at us like that, you know, sometimes, I mean, I kind of want to show the other part too. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't only be looked at like that. You know what I mean? Somebody has to show a different part of how we are too. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not all punks, and we're not all just gonna let shit slide. And we're not all just gonna, you know, we're not all doctors and lawyers, and we're not all like, you know, like just passive. You know what I mean? You know, some of us will give it up like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's important that we show different sides of, you know, of us.
Well, Charleston White has been in the news a lot,
Right.
since our last interview.
Uh-huh.
And I said this on Twitter recently, how Charleston White is the first person in the hip hop space. Now, I'm not saying he's a rapper or producer, but
Right.
I feel he's in the hip hop space. He interacts with other rappers. He's had confrontation with rappers, and he talks about rappers. So he does platforms that are hip hop platforms. So I'm going to say he's in the hip hop space, right? He's the first person in the hip hop space that's really embraced snitching.
Yeah.
Now, people say, oh, what about Tekashi? Well, I would say that with Tekashi, he was put in a situation where he felt he needed a snitch to get out of doing a lot of prison time.
Mm-hmm.
If he had the choice, he probably would not have snitched, right? If they said either you can snitch or not snitch, you'll get the same end result, he probably would not have snitched.
Right.
But Charleston enthusiastically calls the police on people.
Right.
What is your take on this?
He weird, man. That's my take on it. He's weird. I mean, you know, and what he's doing is like, is working for him. So like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Is whatever, you know, that's his choice, man. I feel like it's weird energy, but it's working for him. So who am I to tell him anything? I mean, I don't know. That's what he believes. That's what he wants to do. I don't know him from prior to the internet, so I don't. Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, he's like threatening to expose people's drug operations.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is he's just doing it. I feel like he will do it, but he's really just doing it for the sensationalism. Like he's just doing it so he can make headlines. He knows what he's doing. Like he's calculated with this stuff. He's smart. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows what he's doing right here. Like, you know, so he just keeps constantly popping up because he's constantly doing these things. You know what I mean? These different things. And I think you know, love it, hate it, like it, whatever. I think he's doing a good job in terms of keeping himself relevant. You know what I'm saying? And I guess it's working. And I guess he's also bringing another narrative that a lot of people might, you know, they might have been felt suppressed because they felt like, oh, I should be doing that. I should be calling the police. But because of, you know, the culture and everything else, like they felt suppressed. Like they couldn't do it. And here he comes, and you know, he's about to open the door for, I feel like more people's gonna be doing that outwardly. Like I know a lot of people's already doing it, but not outwardly, like, you know what I mean, saying it and really like advertising what they're doing. You know, they them snitching, but he's embracing it. He's trying to make it like, he's trying to make snitching great again.
Make snitching great again. Saga. No, wait. Make snitching. Masaga. Make snitching. No, yeah, Masaga. Yeah, there we go. Masaga.
Oh,
make snitching great again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think to a certain degree, you have to take a step back and say, if it comes to a war with somebody, if you want to beef with someone, you have to realize that that other person will use anything at their disposal to win, right?
Right.
And people like to say, well, oh, let's just, you know, like rap beef. Like, oh, let's just keep it on wax. You know, originally that was like that. You know, when rappers used to beef, KRS-One and MC Shan, it stayed on wax. You would go and record a song here, they would go record a song there, and the fans would decide, they would even go on tour together and perform the song, you know, on their own set. Time went on, rap beef turned into like the Tupac and Biggie situation, where it wasn't on wax. It turned deadly. People ended up dying. People ended up getting beat up. People ended up, you know, tragedy happened around the whole situation. So, you know, you take it into 2022 and it's like, all right, well, we're going to beef with each other, but no one's going to call the police, right? And you get something like a Charleston White and say, no, if you fucking with me, I'm going to use everything at my disposal. I'm going to talk shit about you on the internet, and I'm going to call the police on you. Because if you're trying to do harm to me, I'm going to use everything at my disposal, and the police is one of my tools.
Yeah.
and in fact, that even protects me if anything happens, because now I have a police report and I have a paper trail and everything else like that. And I'm an old man, and what am I going? I'm not going to physically fight it out with you, so I'm going to use everything at my disposal. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he called the police on that guy." But a lot of times, that guy is the one that's like escalating the situation in a way. He's the one that's threatening Charleston White and everything else like that. Charleston doesn't really threaten anybody. So yeah, a lot of dudes that are like, "I ain't gonna fight you. I'll call the police on you."
You like that?
Do I like that? No, I don't like that.
I mean, do you agree with it?
I don't call the police on people.
But you agree with what he's doing, right?
No, I don't agree with what he's doing.
You don't see a fault in it.
I'm sorry?
You don't see a fault in what he's doing.
Well, let me put it like this. It's not something I would do.
You wouldn't call the police.
No.
Right. If somebody threatened you, you're not going to call the police?
No. I've had lots of threats.
Right.
I've had lots of threats. I remember there was this one dude DM me and was like, "Yo, you're fucking dead when you come to New York." Right? And I remember I looked at his Instagram page.
And you was in New York?
I was in New York at the time. Yeah, I was in New York. And I remember I'm looking at his Instagram and he's standing next to his car with the license plate right there.
Right.
And I'm like, I could go down the street to the precinct and really just turn this in. And this motherfucker here will get charged with terrorist threats. And depending on what his background is, he might go to prison.
Terrorist threats? Why terrorist threats?
Well, you're threatening to kill somebody.
Was it terrorist threats?
That's technically considered a terrorist threat.
No,
I know it sounds crazy when you say it, but But essentially,
a terrorist threat is, I'm gonna hijack a plane, or I'm gonna fucking like
a terrorist
bomb the
threat.
fucking,
A terrorist threat
bridge.
legally is threatening to kill or seriously hurt somebody.
So what's the difference between a regular threat and a terrorist threat?
However you want to say threat. You want to just call it a threat? You want to just call it a threat? We can call it a threat.
Well, I'm just saying, I just didn't understand. Terrorist kind of brings it a little bit like higher up.
Okay, fine.
Right?
Well, however you want to define it, I don't know what the legal term is. I always thought it was called like a general term was terrorist threat. Maybe I'm wrong. But my whole thing was like, I'm looking at this going like, all right, I could go down the precinct, show him the DM, show him his Instagram, and let NYPD, whatever, do what they want to do, and I'll cooperate. But really, there's no cooperation at that point because I'm showing him the proof, right? But then I'm like, number one, I'm not taking this all that seriously.
Cooperating though, like
right, you're cooperating, right? Yeah, you're cooperating. That's what I'm saying. But I'm like, number one, I'm not taking this all that seriously. This was around the time when these fake rumors about me getting ARAB locked up and the judge thanking me was circulating, which was a fake rumor. And it's like, this was a young kid, looked like he was in his early 20s. If he has priors, this could potentially fuck his life up. He could potentially get put through the system.
You thought about all that?
I thought about all that. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm cool.
Just have a bodyguard.
I just don't want to ruin this dude's life over an emotional DM.
No doubt.
Right?
What did he, why was he DMing you like that?
No idea. Oh. Like I said, this was around the time that these fake rumors, I was trending because there was a fake article where it said like the judge thanks DJ Vlad for helping to convict ARAB. It has a picture of some white judge and ARAB next to him in a publication that really has never properly existed. It was like, it wasn't like an actual established publication. It was some little blog that no one had heard of. And I was trending and a lot of people were like talking shit about me over a fake article because honestly, I didn't help. ARAB, all my interviews I did with ARAB had nothing to do with this case. Mm-hmm. It never entered the courtroom, had nothing to do with his sentencing. He had a snitch that was around him that cooperated against everybody. Mm-hmm. And then when it got down to it, to the actual sentencing, I remember, we had a lawyer, Mo Gangat, talk about this case. As during the process of sentencing, ARAB started to roll his eyes and started like, just act disrespectfully to the judge, and the judge took offense to it and even mentioned in the sentencing, it seems that you are not respectful of this courtroom and you don't really, take this situation seriously. And he like threw the book at him, gave him like 30 years. Mm-hmm. Even the lawyer was like, if that was my client, I would ask the judge for a recess, pull him aside and say, listen, I know you're upset, but keep it together for the next 15 minutes because this is going to affect the rest of your life. But it was what it was. But yeah, man, like I've had situations where I'm like, man, fuck this dude. But it's like, I'm going to press charges against him and call the police on him. Like, I'm not going to do that shit. Now, if an actual crime was committed, then yeah, I would. Like, if my house got broken into and my family was assaulted or whatever, then yeah, I would absolutely call the police. And I would testify and I would get on the stand and the whole thing. But the type of shit that Charleston is calling the police on people for, I would absolutely not do.
Is it like I seen that he called the police on somebody that said he couldn't go back to Atlanta or whatever? Was that real? Is that real?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
I think he actually, and I think the dude actually got arrested. Yeah. Yeah, I think he actually got arrested. And then
Charleston White is crazy.
And then there's the Soulja Boy situation where he made Soulja Boy.
Yeah.
When you heard about that, what'd you think?
Yeah, I definitely heard that, huh?
When you heard about the pepper spray situation, what'd you think?
I was like, I said, man, this dude is like, he's not, he's not losing. It's not like people beating him up. It's like he's carrying what he's saying. Like, he's still outside. These dudes run up on him and he hit him with, not the spray, he hit him with the gel. It's different.
Oh, there's a difference?
Yeah. Yeah, gel sticks. Like the spray sprays. The gel, like,
right
streams.
At you.
It streams.
Okay. Have you ever gotten hit with gel before?
Hell yeah, bro.
Okay. Oh, that's some prison shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So pepper gel.
Like, yeah, the gel.
How bad is it?
No, it's worse because imagine, like, if you spray, right, is going like this.
Yeah.
So all of it isn't gonna hit your face. It's gonna be like over here. But the gel, it's solid. It's more solid than the spray. So it's gonna like
Right in
all
your
of it
face.
is gonna hit you. All of it is gonna hit your face, and you go. And it's tough, man. Like you can't see nothing. Your shit is burning. Like your equilibrium is done after that. Like you know what I mean. So. I don't know why they was playing with him like that. You know what I'm saying? They probably thought that they was just gonna run up on him and do whatever. But that old man had a trick for them.
I wasn't mad at that. Honestly, I wasn't mad.
I was laughing at that. I ain't gonna lie. I was laughing.
I was laughing at it too.
And then you had Soulja Boy saying whatever he was saying, but you know, you got jailed.
He's the first rapper to get jailed.
He's the first rapper to get jailed. Yeah, Soulja Boy.
Oh man, he claimed that too. He can add that to.
Did he say that?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
Other people were saying it though.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wasn't mad at Charleston doing that. I mean, he's essentially by himself, and Soulja Boy approached him with like 10 people.
Right.
It's not like Soulja Boy walked up to him.
And he
hey,
got
man.
all 10 people out the way. That's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I have my dislikes for him and whatever. I don't agree with a lot of shit that he says, but I have to give credit where it's due, man. He's handling, like, it's not like he allowed them to beat them up. Like, he's like maneuvering these situations. So, you know, he's an interesting guy, man, to say the least.
Yeah. And listen, at the end of the day, he kind of did the best choice in that particular situation. Because think about what the other choices are. Pulls out a gun and shoots somebody.
That's a bad choice.
Back in prison.
Yeah, he that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm giving his credit. Like, he knows how to maneuver a certain situation.
Assuming nothing gonna happen, ends up getting beat up by 10
Right.
dudes and jumped. This is a man who's like, I believe in his 50s or 60s, has one eye,
Yeah.
potentially will go blind after that,
Wow.
potentially die.
Right.
You know, a very small guy at that. He ended up macing everybody and walked away. And I think he pressed charges against Soulja Boy. I think he called the police on
Did
Soulja
he
Boy
really?
afterwards. I
That's
think
crazy.
so. I think so.
Y'all need to just leave him alone, man. Just leave Charleston White alone. Let him let One Eye Willie chill, man.
Well, speaking of jail, we just interviewed Michael Thompson. He's a
Yeah, because
former...
what's a China Mac interview without jail?
Without
right?
jail. Look, it's not like you haven't been mentioning it the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not like you haven't mentioned
Right,
it.
right. All right, cool.
So we interviewed this dude, Michael Thompson. He's a former leader of the Aryan Nation,
Right.
who put in a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
during his time, during the 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually ended up, turning against the Aryan Nation and cooperating against them.
Mm.
And what we talked about was what the Aryan Nation did within the prison system. One of which is drugs. They controlled a lot of the drug trade in the prisons that they were powerful in. The other is prostitution.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to prostitution in prison, we're not talking about women.
Right.
We're talking about men.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, yeah, that was one of the big Aryan Nation things, was that they had male prostitutes that they would rent out to other inmates and everything else like that.
Well, what you have individuals who are either turned out or that they're gay by choice. And essentially they become the women behind the walls. And so they're prostituted along that line. So you have a stable, you have an individual that pimps that stable, and you have your revenues as a result of that.
And I brought up...
Say it was pimping. It was pimping.
There was
It was
pimping.
pimping boys.
It was pimping boys, right. And I brought up this the story I found on Reddit about something called protective pairing. Do you know what that is?
Fuck is that?
So it's a story about a guy who went to prison. He was still, young, good looking, but kind of small. They put him in a cell with a dude who was this big, burly type of dude. And essentially, the guy started to have sex with him and would protect him in the prison. Yeah. And it was known as protective pairing. When I brought this up to Michael, he said, oh yeah, I'm very familiar with that term. And you have these relationships in prison where one dude would be having sex with another dude and protect him against all the other dudes that may want to harm him or have sex with him.
Right.
And he basically became a prison wife, right, in a way. He said at first it was bad, but after a while he kind of got used to it.
Who?
The guy who was basically getting raped.
You talking about not the guy that you was interviewing?
No, not the guy I was interviewing.
But
that was one of the leaders. That was the Aryan Nation.
So he was a
no. He was not doing this, but he was familiar with this whole concept.
But he had one of them.
No, he did not.
He didn't have one of them.
He did not. No. But he was saying, but this is a very common thing in prison. Have you personally seen that?
I mean, not like that, but I definitely seen like, people. What we called it something else. We called it damn, what did we call it? We called it damn, I forgot what we called it, man. But we called it something else. There's another term for it. And it was basically like it was this is how they would do it in New York. They would like befriend the kid, like teach him how to, let me teach you how to work out. Let me teach you, you know what I'm saying? And you be in the gym working out and all you doing is squats. And the dude is behind you, like doing shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just slowly but surely, like, oh, here, you can wear my chain. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you can eat these cookies. And the next thing you know, you gonna have somebody in your peanut butter jar. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Yeah. I actually found the original post while I was talking to you. I'll read it to you. In my mid-20s, I was young and stupid. Thought I was a tough guy and was hustling. Ended up getting pulled over with a loaded gun and 2 ounces of powder, and then got sent to state prison for 32 months. In order to survive in there, I basically had to become someone's prison wife, as they call it. I was young, slim, good-looking, and completely inexperienced in doing time. My cellie was solid muscle, so he started taking advantage of me. What can I say? It was awful in the beginning, but I got used to it. I now know that it could have been a whole lot worse for me, so I'm not bitter. At least he treated me pretty good, never hit me or nothing like that. He never shared me with no one, thankfully, like I seen happen to some other guys who got churned out in there. I'm well aware there's going to be people on here that are going to clown me and point fingers. I don't really give a fuck. What happened to me happens to a lot of men in lockup. I'm just one of the few who has the heart to admit it. They even have a name for this type of situation like I was in. It's called protective pairing. Like I said, it happens to a lot of men. For some guys in there who aren't as strong, becoming a punk is the only way to guarantee your safety. Because in return for giving up the booty, you get protection. I'm now 31 years old, have a beautiful girlfriend, and moving on. Although my experience in prison will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Right.
The look on your face just says it all right now.
I mean,
Does this sound like a real story, or does it sound like he's just making this up?
It sounds like it's real. I mean, but it's different. Like Cali is different than New York. So like, I didn't, but I could see that happening though. I could definitely see that happening different times. Like I could definitely see that happening. And, it's crazy. It's some crazy stuff. Damn, bro. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to laugh, but it's crazy, man. Like, if I couldn't see myself in that position. I mean, I'm sure if I would have went to prison where he went to, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure if I would have went there when I was 18, 17, 18, I would definitely be tried. You know what I'm saying? Definitely be tried. I'll probably definitely be tried. But my response is, I can't live with that. I can't live with that. I can't live with you like forcing every day, like, nah, and that's not what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Nah, like you gonna I'm gonna stab you.
Well, some people said this is bullshit because what they were saying in some of the comments was, in the prison system, all you have to do is make one complaint and you're out of there. Like they'll take you out of that cell.
Yeah, but he's probably what time was he talking about? Like You know, it's probably different times, different, you know what I mean? Different year, different, like, because things changed. Like, if it happened, like, recently, then yeah, probably because of all of the, you know, all of the legal stuff that's been happening and all of the exposure that these things have been getting, right? But if you're talking about the 80s and shit like that, 90s, you know, those are different times. You know what I mean?
So if you go, during the time that you were locked up, if you go to one of the guards and say, my cellmate is sexually assaulting me, they're just going to say, deal with it?
Yeah. I mean, not so, yeah, absolutely. Because it depends. It depends if, you know, if this guy that you're talking about, if he's known in the prison, like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, the guards are like, they're their own gang. So they might be like, oh, nah, you know, like, you know, it just depends who this person is. And if you come up to him, be like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you could do it. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't getting exposed. Like, but now, all you have to do is call, post on the internet, and then the news will be in there. You know what I mean? So now you can't allow those type of things to happen anymore. But back in those days, you know, it's a part of it. You a man, like, you better go, you know, do something. That's how they used to respond.
Yeah.
But they can't respond like that no more, because imagine, all somebody has to do is just call their parents, and their parents go on the internet, my son is being, you know, peanut butter's taken and stuff, and you know what I mean? And then
What's
next
this whole
thing,
peanut butter thing keep bringing up, man?
I mean, that's what we get. That's
That's what you
what
call
it is. Yeah, peanut.
Okay.
You can't get peanut butter taken, bro.
Oh my God. Oh, yet another reason why I never went to prison, right?
Good,
here.
man.
Here we
Good
go.
for you. Good for
Here
you.
we go. Another reason between the Glock Dookie
And the peanut butter.
and the peanut butter and American Me and all the other bullshit I've heard over the years. I'm so glad I didn't do more than a couple of days in jail at any given time.
Right.
So let's just say someone watching this right now, 19 years old, 150 pounds, long hair, good looking, suddenly get in trouble and they're thrown into a cell.
Mm-hmm.
They're thrown into an actual penitentiary, and now they're in that situation. How would they avoid giving up the booty, basically?
Yeah, you gotta stab him.
You got to stab somebody.
Yeah.
That's the only way around it.
I mean, either that or you're gonna tell. You know what I'm saying? Either that or you depending. Like, if you can't tell, you know what I'm saying? Or some people ain't gonna tell. Some people is not gonna tell. Like, fuck it. Like, you know, you're gonna have to put that work in. Then everybody's gonna know, and he's not with it.
Fuck with this dude, he goes.
Yeah, fuck with it, and you gonna catch that shit in your fucking neck.
So you got to kill him.
Whatever.
Because if you stab him and, well, number one, you're going to potentially catch a case if you stab somebody.
Right.
Let me ask you a question. Because I remember.
I ain't gonna lie, I'd rather fight that case.
Yeah.
Than having to live with that trauma of somebody fucking taking my peanut butter.
Because I remember I interviewed Blue Boy.
Because that's some traumatic shit. That's something that you're gonna remember for the rest of your life.
Every
and
day.
imagine if you start liking that shit, like, oh my God, nah, he gotta die, bro. He gotta die. He gotta fucking die, man. I ain't gonna lie, he gotta die.
I feel you.
He gotta die, and then we gonna have to hire a lawyer, and we gonna have to fight that case. But nah, I'm gonna live in the cell with you, and you over here fucking, you know what I'm saying, putting Vaseline and waiting for the guards to walk so you could. Nah, you gotta die, bro. It's over.
I feel you. I think that situation was in the TV show Oz. I don't know if you ever watched it, but it was this young, you know, dude ends up getting locked up over some.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I feel goosebumps, like, cause I know he gotta die. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, on that show Oz, like this one dude ended up getting in a cell with this, like, you know, Nazi dude, and the guy was all real nice to him in the beginning, and then he started to rape him.
Right.
And then I think he tattooed a swastika on the guy's ass, and
that's-
basically, and then at one point the dude ends up retaliating, ends up like shitting in the dude's mouth. Like, ends up beating him up real bad and like shitting in his mouth in front of everybody. And then now you're in the system again, and you know, like recently, you know, Pooh Shiesty, who's locked up right now, he made an Instagram post. He said, you can go to jail inside of jail.
Mm.
And I remember.
What did he mean by that?
Well, I think what he's talking about
box?
is you could catch charges while you're locked up.
Right, yeah. You could go to the box while you're in the jail.
Right. But when it comes to the laws, are the laws inside prison exactly the same as the laws outside of prison?
No.
No. Why is that?
It just depends. Like, it depends where you are at, what county your jail is in. Because it's not the jail that's prosecuting you. It's the county.
Okay.
Right. So whatever county you're in, the laws and rules, they might not give a fuck. Like, in that county, they might not care. Like, whatever. Like, you might be able, it just depends, or they might go hard on that county because, it just depends on the county. Like, some counties are harsher on, just like anywhere else, right? Like, if you're in New York City, if you catch a case in Manhattan or Queens, 9 times out of 10, you are going to get more time. If you catch a case in the Bronx, that's business as usual. That's there's so much cases happening. It's like, just take this 2 years. But if you catch that same case in Queens, they gonna load your ass up.
But if you catch a case in Queens on the street as opposed to in Queens locked up, is it the same penalty both times? Or do they treat...
Nah.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
The reason I asked that, for example, like you look at someone like Blue Boy, right? Who's killed 3 people.
Yeah. Shout out to Blue. Yo, you know what's crazy? Shout out to Blue Boy, because I recently just met Blue Boy, right? And it was because of this right here. The last time, and I spoke about Blue, he found me. He made it his, like, he called mad different people getting to me, and he got me. I pulled up on him recently in Lower East Side.
Nice.
And so I wanted to tell you that because it was because of this.
Good. But, for example, Blue Boy, he killed 3 people.
Right.
Which he talked about on camera. 1 person on the street, 2 people in prison. He got out after 30-something years. 3 murders. It seemed like the murders that happened in prison were not as harshly prosecuted as the murder he did in New York.
Right.
Because he eventually got out. You would think that if you killed 3 people on the street, you probably would never get a release date. But yet he got a release date.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it just appears to me that, like,
No, but it just depends, because my boy Eddie Ed, who I mentioned before, Knock 'em Dead Ed, he got a jail body too, and they pinning him on that. So he's still in there. He's went in the same time, if not before Blue Boy, and he's still in there for a jail body on Rikers Island. So it's like, it just depends. It really depends.
Yeah, I mean, prison gets dicey. I mean, I remember I talked to, we never did the interview, but this one guy, he got convicted of murder, right? And he went to prison for, I think he got like 20 or 30 years. In prison, there was a situation where they found a knife, and he was kind of like the little homie, and the OG dude was like, yo, you need to claim that knife. And he's like, nah, that's you. I'm not claiming that. And the dude was like, all right, well, I'm going to rape you then. Because that's what the dude was known for. He ended up...
He said that to Blue?
No. This has nothing to do with Blue Boy. Nothing to do with Blue Boy. No. This is a whole different situation. So the guy basically said, you're going to start getting raped then. If you don't want to take this charge from me, I'm going to start raping you. So the next day, he basically got a hold of a knife and stabbed the dude in the neck and killed him.
Yeah.
Right? As it so happens, was the Innocence Project or one of these groups got involved in his case, and they proved that the murder he was convicted for, he had nothing to do with. So then, by then taking the next step and saying, well, since he wasn't supposed to be in prison anyways, this murder he committed, he should not be responsible for. And actually, the judge ended up agreeing with this argument and ended up allowing him to get out. And I think he even sued the state and whatever and got some money on the way out.
Right.
It's a very interesting situation, though.
Right.
It's like he did kill somebody, and he was found guilty of it, but he technically should not have been there in the first place. So
he got
therefore,
thrown out.
and it's never really worked out like that in the jail system before. So it kind of set some interesting precedents of it. And it's like, that's interesting. You're right. He should have never been in there. So he kind of got away with a murder in a way, but not really, but in a way.
Right.
Have you ever heard of anything like that happening?
I can't say, but it sounds like something I heard before, but I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it makes sense though. I mean, it fake makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds like something a good lawyer could make happen.
Mm-hmm. Yung Thug and Gunna are still locked up.
Right.
28 people indicted.
Mm-hmm.
It's a state RICO case.
Right.
Nobody's getting bond.
Right.
And at least one person is actively cooperating.
Right.
Boosie had a very interesting statement when I talked to him about that.
Said?
He said, you can't shake a bag with 28 eggs and expect none of them to crack.
Right. You can't. It's impossible.
What do you think is going to happen in this case when you look at it from the outside looking in?
I mean, but then there's also a lot of the witnesses are recanting now and saying that they don't want to do it. They don't want to tell.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are saying because of the pressure coming from the internet. Now you got all these internet police, you know what I'm saying? So you got people on the internet that's like really invested in this stuff. They're going to do the research and they're going to find out who's telling before. And then the law enforcement the DA is going to be like, what the fuck? How's people knowing this? And people are finding this out. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what I'm saying? And people putting that pressure, like, okay, they was going to tell before, but now everybody knows. And, people is starting to pull you know what I mean? They're like, maybe that's not a good idea.
Yeah, no, I mean, what you're saying is right, because it's a very interesting effect, right? Because when you look at traditionally how things happen, in order for a media publication, a real media publication to say, hey, here is the snitch in this case. They have to have everything worked out. They have to have the paperwork. They have to have witnesses. There has to be a bunch of due diligence for them to put that out there and potentially not get sued.
Right.
Because if they say it's the wrong person or whatever else, let's just say they put it out there, the person gets killed and they get sued. A lot goes into it. Like we found out about the dude that was snitching allegedly in the YSL case also, but we're not touching that because this is just stuff that's floating around the internet. But listen, someone with a YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, I can make a video about this dude snitching?
Yeah.
Because I read it on Twitter?
Yeah.
Psh, fire up the recorder. I'm about to get 100,000 views.
We're about to get 100,000 views.
About to get 100,000 views by tomorrow.
Eat good.
Oh yeah, I'm about to make a couple $1,000 here. Oh
good,
shit.
Yeah.
I'm spending the money in my head. Yeah. So you have all these small, independent little media outlets that don't care about getting sued. The same ones who make fake videos about me are making fake or not fake videos about what's really happening. And then hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of people will start to watch this and it'll start to spread. And then before you know it, this guy's going into hiding. Because whether it's true or not, the internet is saying it's true.
Right.
It's crazy. The fact that no one's getting bond, though, is crazy to me.
Right.
Because this is not... Do you know the difference between a state and federal RICO?
No.
Well, I mean, a federal RICO definitely has more resources associated with it. You got the feds. You got the United States government. This is just the state of Georgia. It's still based on the same type of thing, but the feds have a higher conviction rate because they have more money and more time to spend on this. But the fact that no one's getting bond, I remember when we brought in Mo Ganga to talk about this, he said is just insane. He said, in New York, everyone would be bonded out. Mm-hmm. But in Georgia, everyone's sitting in jail.
Right.
To me, everybody is dragged along into the whole situation. To me, I think that the lawyers think that the whole indictment is unconstitutional and we would challenge it, but for the fact that we know that we're not going to get any justice in this court. That's what I think. I think that if they were up here in New York in federal court, they would move in and move to dismiss and say, Judge, read this indictment. Tell me what this guy did that has him facing 5 to 20 with no bond.
Gunna is the one that really is getting fucked up the most.
Right.
Because he seems to just have been around.
Right.
They're not, they don't really have any crimes associated with him. He was just in the vicinity of some guns and drugs and stuff like that, but he's just getting thrown in as a gang leader. And he's been sitting in jail now for months. Have you ever seen something like this where just this group of people gets locked up, no one gets bond, and they're just dragging everyone into a situation like this?
I mean, in the feds, you don't get no, I mean, once they take you like, you know, on a RICO charge, you can't get bonded from that.
Really?
At least I don't think so.
Well, remember Casanova, he had a bond hearing that got denied.
But yeah, but he had a bond hearing that got denied.
Yeah, thanks to Nick Cannon's interview. Just put that out there.
He had a bond. I don't know. I've never been to the Fed, so I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that you could get a RICO. He had a RICO charge?
Yeah.
Right.
Which he pled guilty to eventually.
Right.
But I remember that there was the whole thing about he had a bond hearing that got denied, and one of the things that happened was they actually brought up his interview with Nick Cannon where he said, I'm still ape. And they used that as a justification to say, oh, look, he's still an active gang member.
Right.
Even though he said, I'm not involved in none of that shit, but, you know, I'm still ape. And they literally quoted that.
How much time did they give him?
He hasn't been sentenced yet.
Right. So just by him saying that on Nick Cannon's show, they denied his bail and they denied his bond. And
that was one of the things they used.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they brought that up.
Y'all
and the
gotta
house
watch
came
what
down.
y'all say on these things, man. Like, y'all gotta watch what y'all say. Like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all make their job so easy, like they don't even have to do nothing, bro. Like, you telling them everything. Like, what the you might as well just shoot somebody and turn yourself in for all that. You might as well just, you know, do your crime and go to the precinct and, like, you know what I mean, tell them everything. You know what I mean? Do what G-Dep did.
I was thinking exactly that same person who went and admitted to a shooting from like 20 years ago that ended up being a murder, and he's in jail right now.
Right.
I interviewed him from prison. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this YSL situation is going to shift hip hop in certain ways.
I mean, what if they beat it?
What if they do? They might. There's a
could.
chance. I mean, you talk about millionaires.
No,
who
we're
are
talking about
putting
millionaires.
every penny into
we're talking
their
about
defense.
millionaires that have a lot of, you know, support. You know what I mean? We're talking about a state RICO case, not a Fed RICO case, a state RICO case that is feeling pressure that they probably never felt before. Like the way that this case is like unraveling and all the people recanting their statements and saying, oh, I'm not doing that, and all of this internet like involvement, you know, they could beat this case. They could. I mean, and I think it's going to make Georgia a little crazy. It's going to make, you know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the DA is defending her use of rap lyrics in this case. I've always felt that if you are on any level criminally related, you should not be doing music about it. I've always felt that way. I feel like unless you're talking about things way past the statute of limitation, if you're at all involved in any sort of shit.
How can you tell if he's talking about like what he's talking about? They'd say anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the police are just, all right, you said, oh, in the lyric, you know what I mean? I caught him slipping, you know, whatever, right? You could just be saying that. It could just be a rhyme. And then, oh, this is what it means.
Right.
You know
a lot of
like,
it is reaching, and a lot of it's going to get thrown out. But then you have situations like YFN Lucci's mom gets shot. And then there's a lyric by Yung Thug that said, I shot at your mother, now he don't mention me. Very specific kind of thing.
Right.
Now, of course, his lawyer is going to say this has nothing to do with this is just artistic expression. But you're talking about someone who you're actively beefing with. He's that Instagram post that I would have been killed you if I didn't like what you did to your, like how you treat your mom or something like that. There's active beef between these guys that's on paper because of their Instagram posts. So you know that there's an established beef. You know this guy's mother got shot, and then sometime later you do a lyric about someone's mother getting shot, and now he don't talk about me anymore, knowing that there's issues about them talking about each other. Now, the lawyer's going to do their job, but you're also going to have a jury of a bunch of middle-aged people who are probably learning about these people, this group of people for the first time ever, right? Going like, this is crazy. The fuck? Someone's mother gets shot and you're making raps about it? The fuck? You would think if someone's mom gets shot, that'd be the last thing you'd mention on a record. But this type of thing is happening. And, I've said this in a few other interviews. What I predict is going to happen is, let's just say that Yung Thug gets a plea deal, right? Let's just say, for example, let's bring up the best situation possible. They say, we'll give you time served if you sign this plea deal and you admit to all this stuff that you've done. You admit that you were involved in YFN Lucci's mom getting shot. You admit to these violent acts, whatever else. We'll give you time served. You can get out right now. Yung Thug will probably sign that shit, right? Mm-hmm. Time served? Cool. I'm done. Now you have a plea deal where someone is admitting to shooting someone's mother, and you have a record label that put that out and promote it.
Right.
Lucci's mom could sue the record label, which is owned by Warner Brothers, multi-billion-dollar company, and so that you guys were out promoting and profiting off of me getting shot as an old woman. I want $500 million. No, I want $1 billion. Fuck that shit. And there's a settlement that happens for hundreds of millions of dollars. Think about the ramifications of what will happen about labels dealing with gangster rappers and street artists and that type of thing. Why at that point, they're going to say, yo, we got to really listen to what we're promoting and putting out because it might be a financial liability for us.
Right.
Like, I remember recently there was a case where this guy that worked for Spectrum, the cable company, mm-hmm. killed an old woman. The family sued Spectrum and proved that Spectrum never did a background check on the guy.
Right.
And they were awarded $1 billion.
A billy?
A billy.
A billy? Damn. Spectrum?
A billy.
Spectrum
for Spectrum. It's not like the Spectrum CEOs got together and hired this dude as a hitman. I get that. Yeah, $1 billion seemed pretty reasonable. But you hired some dude for a position, a cable installer, which probably has a high turnover rate. They're barely able to get anyone to work a job like this, as opposed to doing Postmates. And they hire a dude, and they forget to check his references, which a lot of us forget to do as employers. I do it, but then again, you can't always
Spectrum.
Yeah, I'm not Spectrum. I'm a small company,
right.
But $1 billion over a murder that happened that they were not personally involved with at all. Mm-hmm. But this type of shit that happens.
Right.
I personally think this is going to start happening in the music industry, and I think that a lot of labels are just going to say, we're cool on these street artists.
Yeah, stop promoting all this fucking stupid shit then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop promoting this. Like, y'all profiting off of like murder and all this stuff. Like, y'all don't care what the hell is happening in our world.
Right.
Y'all just want to get this money. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they need to start putting it on y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Cause y'all got so much control of what the fuck is going on. Y'all brainwashing the fucking people, the kids and all that shit. Like, no, yeah, we got tapping them fucking pockets, man. Fuck out of here.
There you go. And that's what I've been saying. I feel like hip hop needs to grow up a little bit.
Right.
Like, okay, like y'all had the heyday and all the violent shit that came out and, people be, like Interscope puts out Hit 'Em Up and that creates a whole lot of chaos and shit like that.
Yeah, they know what the fuck they doing.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. And listen, it's not like that music.
And we just like blindly just, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just they puppets and shit. You know
exactly. And listen, it's not like that music genre is going to go away. It'll just become independent again.
Right.
They'll still put it out on iTunes or whatever else, but maybe iTunes would then have to be like, okay, hold on now. We just got sued as well. You know what I mean? Spotify, like, oh shit, we're part of this class action lawsuit.
Right. I feel like greed is like the reason for where we at today in our this fucking mess that we in. It's greed. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, oh, money, 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 money. But yeah, you money, money, money until that shit is at your doorstep, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. But yeah, I think I don't disagree. I think the companies should be held accountable for what they promote, and y'all profiting off of it, right? Y'all
Right.
getting money off of it, right? All right,
Exactly.
so yeah, give up some of that money. Let's see what you do after that.
Freddie Wap actually pled guilty to a conspiracy in a drug case.
He locked back up?
Well, yeah, he actually got locked back up because I guess he was on parole or on bail.
Yeah.
I guess bail.
Right.
It would be bail, right? Since he hadn't been sentenced yet. So he was on bail and he got into it with someone, I guess on FaceTime, and he like brandished a gun. And I guess the dude who
Good
he
job.
threatened the gun with ended up reporting it to the police. He violated his bail,
Right.
got sent back in.
Mm.
And while he got sent
So
back in,
he took a screenshot of the damn, that's crazy. Who is Charleston White?
Freddie Wap.
No, but
Oh, who
called the cops
snitched on him?
Charleston
Oh, I
White?
don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who snitched on him. But yeah, he's locked up, and he actually pled guilty to a conspiracy drug case.
Damn.
I guess and got involved with fentanyl or whatever else. And he's facing 5 years in prison, which is crazy because it's like at one point Freddie Wap was like the biggest rapper out there.
1738.
Trap Queen.
Trap Queen. Crazy. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how his biggest song was Trap Queen, and then he gets locked up for trapping. Pretty
I
much.
mean, he's living where he raps. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but it's like,
But he had it though. Like, damn, bro. I know.
bro, he was throwing. I remember he was so on fire that he would just throw stacks of money out of the window.
He had it, and then to
out of his
see him
hotel
like
room.
normal, regular walking on the street, like damn, yeah, like just regular, like damn, you just threw that away, huh? Just threw it away.
Young kid, listen, this was a dude who had one eye, right? That probably didn't have access to a lot of the baddest women and stuff like that. Suddenly he's Freddie Wap, and the one eye suddenly is cute and unique. And he's doing shows. He got all these hit records and everything else like that. And he's having all these babies. He got a bunch of chicks pregnant at the same time. Some of which ended up not even being his baby. Like, Alexa Sky was supposedly had his baby, and then later on he found out it wasn't his baby.
What?
This girl Masika had it from Love and Hip Hop had his baby, and there was a bunch of other girls who had his baby. So he's out there fucking his brains out, not pulling out,
Shooting
throwing
up.
money out the window, thinking that this Trap Queen money is going to
forever.
go on forever. Because, man, that first album had like
Crazy.
5 hit records on it.
Yeah,
He was on fire. He
he
was
on
that
fire.
dude. And then just for whatever reason,
You see how fast it changed though? This is what I'm saying. Like a lot of people watching, the younger people that's watching, you see how fast that changes? Like you get it. You're like people, like we think like, oh yeah, when it's coming in, we think it's gonna come in forever. No,
Yep.
it don't come in forever, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You got a window period. Like everything else, you got a window period. And that window period is when you supposed to make the best decisions. You know what I mean? When you got that window period and you don't make the right decisions, that window gonna close on you and you gonna be outside cold. You know what I'm saying?
and then you've gotten used to that lifestyle.
Right.
You've gotten used to.
That's
you've
how
gotten
fast. And then everybody that love
Yeah.
you is laughing
Yep.
at you.
You've gotten used to the Benzes. You're used to flying first class.
Right.
You're used to staying in nice
Yeah.
hotel rooms.
Yeah,
You're
now you
used
gotta
to
take the
having,
bus,
to popping bottles.
Yeah.
You're used to having all your paying for all your homies.
Right.
And then things start to slow down. The hit records are not coming. The shows are not paying as much.
Right.
And all right, well, maybe I'll just dabble in some shit here to just kind of supplement my show money and whatever else. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Like, I don't know this case. I'm not saying maybe he did absolutely nothing wrong. He's caught up in some shit and he had to just go along with it to avoid a bigger sentence. I don't know. I've never met Fetty Wap. We were supposed to do an interview. It never happened. Who knows? But from the outside looking in, it almost sounded like, okay, like he's not the hot rapper anymore. Let me do some other side shit to support this lifestyle that I've gotten used to.
Yeah. Fetty Wap fucked up, man. He fucked that package up.
He
fumbled
the bag.
He fucked that package up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know, he fucked that package up, man. And at least he's only doing 5 years. It could be a lot worse.
Well, we don't know yet. He's supposed to be sentenced.
Right.
But they're saying he's looking like at a minimum of 5.
Right.
Well, R. Kelly got 30. A lot of people have issue with that. You know, Boosie mentioned how he knows murderers that got less than 30 years.
He was done dirty, man. You got people who kill people who confess and say, I did it, manslaughter, 10 years. Take people's lives from their family.
Right.
Do you know murderers that have gotten less than 30 years?
Absolutely. I know murderers that got 10 years.
10 years.
Absolutely.
Was it murder or was it manslaughter?
Manslaughter. Right, manslaughter. But I've seen murders, like, I've seen people that caught murders that with less time than 30 years. I've seen murderers. You could slide on a murder, like, but and he's right. He's right. He's right. How, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's people that kill people that get less time than what he got, and he has a point there.
So you think it's an excessive sentence?
Yeah, I think it's excessive. I definitely think it's excessive.
Because he's got a whole other
that man
trial.
got a whole problem. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't agree with that shit at all. Like, I think he's scum for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he's a monster. That's what he is. He's a monster. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I still think he should still be treated fairly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and 30 years is excessive for that. Because it's not like he was raping these women. These women said, okay. You know,
Well,
even though it was
statutory rape. It was
definitely statutory rape. And that's
14,
wrong.
15
That's
years
100%
old.
wrong. He's taking advantage.
It is rape. It is rape. And, you know, I personally feel the parents should be involved in these cases, like in terms of being charged. Because a lot of times these parents are sending the kids over.
But then also, now that you think about it, it's like, damn, like, he caused a lot of trauma too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he caused a lot of trauma. He caused a lot of, you know, a lot of bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? He a monster. So, you know, I feel like everybody get what they get. You know what I'm saying? Like, some murderers get less time. Some murderers get more time. Some rapists get less time. Somewhere, you know, he got what he got. I mean, you know, but I do understand what Boosie was saying. Like, you know, like. But how you gonna tell that to a parent that, you know what I'm saying? Or I don't know.
Yeah, man, it's fucked up. I mean, and you're right. He is a monster. He was basically. I mean, you know, he's got a new trial underway right now, and I guess the girl in the original video from the first trial, like whatever, 15 years ago, who said it wasn't her, has now come forward and said, oh, it actually was her in the video, and they had sex hundreds of times or whatever when she was like 14 or whatever else, and they would videotape it and so forth. And
Nasty dick dude, man.
it's interesting, though, how when the first trial happened, she claimed it wasn't her, and right before this new trial, she filed for bankruptcy.
Right.
Which gives the implication that he was probably paying her off all these years, and then he went to prison, payoff stopped. She ain't got money from him, so now she's going to testify against him, which, you know, has its own set of morals and issues and whatever else, but at this point it doesn't really matter because she's now testifying along with some other girls and so forth, and there's videotapes and whatever. And, you know, he got what he got. He already has 30 years, so I don't know why there's another trial, because if he gets sentenced in this trial, unless it's more than 30 years, it's just going to run concurrent, right? Or do they do it one after the other? Like, if you get 10 years in one case and then catch another case for another 10 years.
It depends what the judge says.
Oh, so it could go both ways. It could be concurrent or it could be once you're done with this 10 years, you got another 10 years waiting
I
for you.
don't think they should give him 30 years. They should just castrate him.
I don't think that's legal in America.
They just
I don't think that's a
castrate
natural
him.
thing.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, take that. You can't do that no more.
He has no balls anymore.
You ain't no
He's
balls.
harmless. He's into playing Yahtzee now. He's just not into girls anymore. He's not into
Right.
anyone anymore.
That's crazy.
Oh my
Cheeto.
God, Cal. I bet you he would take that.
You think he would take that?
Shit, 30 years or no balls? I don't know.
30 years, or you got to cut.
Cut your ball. What would you do? 30 years or no balls?
Well, I gotta think about it. 'cause
You
it's
got
like,
balls, but
with
you with a
30
bunch
years,
of
you're
men.
not gonna use it anyway.
You're
so
not going
it's
to
like-
use it unless you want to fuck some dudes, right?
I don't know, man. That's crazy. Life without your balls, bro, is nuts.
Or life in a prison cell, which is, at our age, 30 years is essentially life, right?
Right. Fuck it. Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do? Okay, well, what would you do?
Fuck it. Take the balls, man. I don't know. I
Get your
don't know.
balls cut off?
I don't know, man. That's crazy, bro. What would I do, man?
It's a tough choice.
I gotta think about that, man. I'll answer that on my next interview. I don't know, man. But
I think I would.
you would get your balls cut off?
I think I'd get my balls cut off. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
You'll take that.
I'll take that.
I don't know. Man.
My balls for my freedom? What you
Well,
gonna do with
I
your
mean,
balls?
but listen, hold on. Right? I think when you're locked up, one of the main things that equates with your freedom is sex. Like if I had sex in jail, like if I had a girl in my cell, like if I could bring my girl with me in my cell,
Okay.
she
Right.
might.
But-
it might make it easier.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. Definitely gonna make it easier.
But that's fantasy land because you're not gonna have a girl in your cell.
Right.
You don't have co-ed prisons.
Right.
You have these cases.
But that's what I'm saying is that freedom is like sex is one of the main things. That
Is it or is it food? From what I understand, it's food.
Nah, it's sex.
Is it?
Yeah.
I heard
listen, if I could trade, look, you just give me the nasty slop and I just eat the slop for the rest of my life and I get some I get some, I get a girl, some buns like with me in there. Fuck it, I eat the slop. Give me dog food. Fuck it. I think that's more important.
Yeah. Bunch of choices that it's not a good outcome no matter what choice.
Yeah, it's a
like,
nasty.
What's the
thing.
worst loss here?
Yeah.
There's no wins.
Put in the
here.
comment. What
There's
would
no
you
wins.
put in the
There's
comment?
would
What do
you
y'all
do?
think? What
Would
do y'all
y'all-
think?
In the comments,
Right.
comment below. Would you take 30 years in prison
or would you get
or
your balls?
freedom, but you have to get your balls cut off?
It'd be smooth down here, like nothing, just
skin.
gone.
Just all shaft, nothing
Damn.
else.
Yeah, go in the comments. I'm gonna be looking at these comments, bro. Yeah.
Well, Eric Holder, since our last interview, you got found guilty of first-degree murder as well as 2 counts of attempted voluntary manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Were you at all surprised at this conviction?
Nah. I mean, no. I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention to it, honestly.
Okay. I mean, this is obviously for the murder of Nipsey Hussle.
Right. Yeah. I know.
It's interesting because I talked to a few people like Lunell, who lives in, Nipsey's old neighborhood. She felt that if Eric Holder got like manslaughter or some lesser charge, that there would be another riot in LA. Kind of like
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
92 riots.
Right.
The people would be that incensed
Right.
over that situation that they would just fucking lose it. Do you think that we would have had like a 92 LA riot situation if he was found guilty of like manslaughter or something like that, or a lesser charge?
Yep. I do.
Yeah, I never thought about that actually, because everyone just assumed he would just be found guilty of everything.
Well,
But
you
yeah.
can't assume anything when it comes to the police. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You still have to hold your breath a little bit because they have flipped the script on us so many times. And that's why we've had the riots that we had in the past.
Right. Do you think that would have happened?
Hard to say. If he got off,
honestly, I think
if he
people,
just got, if he
forget
walked
fast.
out, I think there's a reasonable guess that might
Just
actually
nowadays, people just forget about shit so fast. Like it probably like at that time when it first happened,
happen. Yeah.
and that would have happened like after, like a little bit after, then yeah. But 2-3 years later, people don't forgot. You know how much stuff happened since Nip. But then Nip has a very big significance in LA. So I don't in the culture out here. So I don't know. Maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, his lawyers were pushing for manslaughter because they claimed that, Eric Holder was mentally sick. In fact, he actually even had electroshock therapy, I think a couple of weeks before the incident. That's a pretty serious mental condition if they're doing electroshock therapy. I thought that was some old 1940s Nazi shit that they stopped doing, but apparently they're still doing it.
Electric shock therapy?
Yeah, they would shock you because,
And what does that do?
Try to help some sort of mental condition that you're going through.
What?
Yeah.
They do that?
They do that.
Damn.
They're doing it to Eric. And he was on medication and everything else like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn.
So had Eric actually afforded, let's just say Eric Holder was a multimillionaire and got a dream team to defend him.
He could have beat it. He could.
He couldn't have beat it, but he could have gotten something
like
temporary insanity, maybe
right.
be put in a mental institution as opposed to prison. Maybe got some form of manslaughter, like something. But he had a public defendant,
right,
which just did his best.
Yeah.
The whole thing's on tape. There's multiple witnesses, everything else like that. So he actually got first-degree murder as well as the other, attempted voluntary manslaughter. It's interesting because I interviewed Cowboy, who was standing next to Nipsey
right
when Eric walked up to him and first talked to him.
Yeah.
And then, when it went inside and then the shooting occurred, he didn't see the shooting, but he was the first person to run up on Nipsey and grab him as he was dying. His thing was everyone was really hating on him for taking the stand in that case. Now, he's a Rolling 60s Crip himself. He's the one that actually brought Nipsey into the Rolling 60s. And his thing was like, look, he didn't want the trial to essentially paint that, this guy walked up to him, Nipsey called him a snitch, and he just, that angered him and that caused him to go and do a shooting. He said, no. The conversation, Nipsey did bring up, hey, listen, I had heard that there's some paperwork out there for, about you. I would go get it checked out. You know what I mean? He goes, oh, no, dude's hating on me. But he said it was a good conversation. They shook hands afterwards. And then, Eric parted ways. He left.
I'm not in it about giving that man no time. It ain't about the time. I'm only in it here to clear bro name. That bro never called him a snitch. There's no excuse for it. I'm still need to know why. That's it. Other than that, I have no information. I wouldn't have got on the stand. I wouldn't have said nothing. No, I had to get on the stand for the world to hear that bro never called him a snitch.
But a lot of people felt that under no circumstances should Cowboy, as a gang-related dude, should have taken the stand. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that if you in that life, right, and part of the rules and regulations is not to cooperate, then you're not supposed to cooperate.
It's that simple.
I mean, what does the rules? I mean, what does the rule say? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can you cooperate? Is there a clause in the rules? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? But if you follow that, if you follow that, then I mean, I can't tell that man what to do, what not to do. He felt in his heart what he wanted to do. That's on him. I'm not gonna critique what that man did or say it was right or wrong. But I'm gonna say I know people that are sitting in life right now because they're not gonna cooperate. You know what I'm saying? And those are people that live by that. You know what I mean? Live by that, not cooperating. You know what I'm saying? And that's what that's what I saw. You know what I mean? That's what I've been thinking. I
mean, his thing was that, look, he didn't say who the shooter was. He didn't say that man.
But you're not supposed to cooperate at all. You're not supposed to.
And that's where the gray area comes in.
Right.
Yes.
Like I told you before, I got beat up by the police. Beat me to my shit was like this, knocked my teeth out like this. When they came and asked me to write a statement, I pushed the statement out. I'm not pressing no charge. I'm not filing.
You wouldn't cooperate against the police.
Yeah, I'm not cooperating.
Okay. So let's just say someone came in and shot me.
Right.
And you're standing here watching this whole thing.
Right.
When the police come and say, what happened? You would say, I didn't see nothing?
Yeah, I was sleeping.
Okay.
I'm not cooperating.
So, even though you had nothing to do with the situation, you're just not going to be an eyewitness.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I didn't see it. I was sleeping. I don't know what the fuck happened. I woke up, shots was going fired, and they just ran out. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Well, because that's what happened in Nipsey's case as well. This guy named Kerry Lathan, who I interviewed right after, he was one of the guys who got shot. He took the stand and said, I don't know. Like, is that you in the video? I don't know. What did you see? I didn't see nothing.
Right.
Literally was just not cooperating on any capacity.
Right.
Another guy, Rimpao, who was standing next to Nipsey as well, was subpoenaed to take the stand, and he wouldn't take the stand. And there was actually a warrant out for his arrest during the time, which they ended up eventually dropping. But he basically was willing to go to jail over not cooperating.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then there was other witnesses, like a mom and like an older guy that took the stand and did cooperate because they didn't have nothing to do with that shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the rules, bro. Like, if you sign up for that, then that's the rules. Like, and you know, in a lot of people's eyes, that's not. There's no like gray area. It's just that's what it is.
So, under no circumstances whatsoever would you cooperate at all. Period. Nothing.
Right. No, we're not cooperating, bro. Like, what is that gonna do? It's not gonna bring it back.
But what about the remember the Cameron 60 Minutes interview where Anderson Cooper said, if there was a serial killer living next to your house, would you call the police? And Cameron said, no. So what would you do? He said, I would move. So if you had a serial killer next to your house, next door, and he was bringing kids in there and killing kids, and you could hear the shit and you witnessed it, whatever else, you would not tell the police that there's a monster living next door to you?
Nah, we gonna get some of the little homies to smoke him. He gonna be out of it.
So you're gonna risk your freedom for the rest of your life to be involved in a murder because in the eyes of me, you're doing the right thing, but in the eyes of the law,
I'm not saying I'm gonna do anything, but we're talking about a hypothetical situation,
yes.
and I'm gonna talk about a hypothetical.
Totally hypothetical, yes.
Right. Yeah. In that instance, no, I'm not gonna be calling no police. I'm not gonna be doing nothing. And if I feel that strongly about it, he gonna get smoked out. I
would absolutely call the police.
Yeah, but that's you.
100%.
That's you.
If I saw kids, like if you had Jeffrey Dahmer that was eating like kids and making fucking furniture out of their skulls and all types of just hideous type shit.
Well, there's enough people in the community that will call the police. Like, y'all call the police. I don't gotta call the police. Yo, you know what he's doing in there? Y'all could call
so
the
you
police.
would tell someone else to call the police?
If y'all want, y'all can call the
but
police.
But isn't that kind of snitching in a way?
No, because I'm not cooperating. But if you feel like you want to,
but you're telling someone else to cooperate and giving them information.
That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Then go ahead, you do it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna do it because you don't live by what I live by. Everybody don't live by that. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So once you live by that, that's what I live by. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do it because I got morals. I got principles that I stand on. But you don't stand on those principles, so you can call the police. Go ahead, Vlad. You call the police. Go ahead.
All right. Well, next time you know of a serial killer, just hit me up. I'll go ahead and knock 118.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you.
Hopefully none of us will be in a situation like that. But I guess to me, a mentality like that is somewhat dangerous because... Number one, it allows monsters to continue to roam and do terrible things. And the flip side is that if you're not going to tolerate it, then you have to take the law into your own hands, which then puts your own freedom in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there's a group of people that will gladly take care of that situation for you, and you could walk away from it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like the police will gladly go and arrest whoever needs to be arrested and so forth without you having to get your hands dirtied out, without you having to potentially kill somebody, then catch a charge or end up getting killed in the process of trying. You know what I mean? Because think about it. The guy who's killing a bunch of people has got a lot of practice.
Right.
He's probably not just going to go along with whoever's going to roll up on him.
Right.
You might end up getting killed trying to take care of that dude yourself.
Right.
And end up being the 14th victim on that guy's list.
Well, if I felt that strongly about it, then you know what I mean. It is what it is. You know. But yeah, I'm not cooperating with the police because, fuck them.
Well, speaking of cooperating, I interviewed Birdman's half-brother, Terrance Gangster Williams.
Right.
Did you see that interview?
Yeah, I did.
You watched the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So after the interview came out, there was some back and forth between him and Boosie.
Mm-hmm.
Boosie looked up to that guy growing up. And he felt that when he went to prison and cooperated against his friends who were already dead and basically let them know about a bunch of murders that his friends did after they had passed away, which helped him get out of prison early, he felt that he had violated the code and he has no respect for him and so forth. The two of them kind of went back and forth a little bit.
And I had a real respect for Gangsta and the stories I heard about him, but that shit leave with me. I have no type of respect for him anymore. What I had for him, that was because of all the stories and all that. But once you go that route, I dismiss you from my legend book and X you out.
To you, cooperating against a dead person, is that still considered snitching and is just the same as cooperating against a live person?
Cooperating on a dead person.
Yeah.
Versus cooperating, it's still cooperating. You're still cooperating with the establishment. You know what I mean? And what they signed up for was no cooperating with the establishment, no matter what. That's what they signed up for. That was what they agreed upon when they sat down on the table. We are not cooperating with the police. We are outlaws. Outlaws. Mm-hmm. Outlaws don't cooperate with police. If you sign up for that, not everybody is outlaw. You know what I'm saying? But if you sign up for that, that's what it is. There's no sit.
Yeah, I mean, Gangsta pretty much said that. He said that his fallout with Birdman had to do with that conversation. Birdman said, we all sat down at this table, you included, and we made these rules, and you broke those rules.
Right.
Now, to me, I think it's a little bit easier for Birdman, who has been out of prison all these years and flying around in private jets and driving Bugattis and, making love to beautiful women and so forth. It's easier to say that to someone who got life plus 20.
Yeah, I can't listen. I'm not going to judge him or say whatever, right? Whatever he did. That's how he felt like, that's what he felt like needed to be done. I don't know, what they spoke about on that table when they spoke about whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just, but, in terms of what Boosie and Baby is saying, I mean, it makes sense, in a way. And what he did makes sense in a way. So it's like, it just depends what side of the line you're on. You know what I mean? There's two sides. So you either on this side or you on that side. And it's both sides, like you can color it both ways. You can.
It's very dicey. It's very dicey. So, I mean, for example, you have people that you care for, right? Let's just say after you pass away, they could get out of a bunch of jail time by cooperating against stuff that you did while you were alive. And you would know that these people, someone that you love and care for a lot, is able to get out of a prison sentence by telling on you over something you did, while you're alive, but you're not alive anymore. So there's no repercussions for you at all.
Right. I mean, if we have that conversation, then, if I say, yo, Vlad, man, you in jail right now, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead, man. I'll sign whatever.
Tell them about those 20 bodies I had.
If we have that agreement and then, you do that thing. But, okay, fine. But then, there's also family members that are also involved, right? Like, there's this person, mother and sons and, their legacy of their fucking family, right? So what about them? You know what I mean? Fuck them. Like, fuck how they feeling. I mean, I can't say, so it's just really, you could look at it in different ways. There's different ways to paint it. It just depends on where your morality is, like what you feel is right or wrong. Because what you feel is right and wrong
Yeah.
may be different than what I feel is right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, at that point, it's, you know, it's just what side of the, where you at?
You know, NBA YoungBoy, he beat his federal gun case.
Right. Oh, so he's home now.
Well, he's been home.
Oh.
He was on house arrest.
Right. All right, yeah. I suppose so.
He has another case, I believe, in California that he
Right.
still has to fight, another gun case. But the federal case, or maybe I got it mixed up. But anyways, he had a federal case that he ended up beating recently. They basically couldn't prove that it was his gun. And, you know, he got the best defense. He spent lots of money on it. And now he's out. So his first tour stop, they actually announced, is going to be in Chicago, which is interesting. Like, for example, me and 600 Breezy, we talked about this in our last interview, and he was like, yeah, you know, bring Quando, Rondo, and Lil Tim on tour with you, which he's actually doing. I don't know about Lil Tim, but he's actually bringing Quando, Rondo to the Chicago show. NBA YoungBoy's manager did a tweet, and he said that YoungBoy's first stop is going to be in Chicago. And you responded to that.
Yeah, I told him to bring them dirty Dickie suit wearing niggas. That's just like, you know, like.
And people are saying you're talking about Quando, Rondo, and Lil Tim.
Of course.
Right. And, you know, Quando Rondo was involved in, you know, the death of King Von.
Right.
That whole situation. He wasn't the one that pulled the trigger, but his man was the one that killed him and so forth. So you got this whole situation where he's
What
probably,
venue is going to allow that?
well, that's going to be an interesting question.
Right. What
Number
venue
one.
is going to want to do
I guess
that?
I guess he'll probably do the United Center, which is the big Coliseum
Right.
in Chicago.
And you think they're going to, I don't know.
I don't know. Will they allow it? Will they not? I mean, listen, remember during the whole Drake Meek Mill beef, Drake did a show in Philly.
Yeah, but that's Drake. You know what I'm saying? That's Drake with this is a whole
NBA
different
YoungBoy is
situation.
on a Drake level when it
No,
comes to
but I'm
popularity right
No,
now.
I know, but I'm talking about in terms of what Drake did and what Quando did. It's two different things. Like,
Well, we're really talking about YoungBoy. Quando's just on the bill. This is really, people are not going to be packing out the United Center for Quando.
no,
They're
I
doing
know,
it
but
for
what
NBA
I'm
YoungBoy.
saying is the threat comes from Quando.
Well, no, not exactly. Because think about the Quando beef was really inherited from the NBA YoungBoy Lil Durk beef. That's what it's really about. Quando is YoungBoy's artist.
Right.
King Von was Durk's artist.
Oh, so that's what they found. I didn't know this.
Well, I'm not saying, listen, it's an open case. Who ultimately, whatever happens, but it seems to come from that overall animosity between these two camps.
right.
Right? And people's baby mothers and girlfriends are thrown into the situation and it's all fucking messy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is with Quando, see, whatever NBA YoungBoy and Dirk had didn't result in a murder of, like, it didn't come with all this other stuff. Yeah, they just had words, right? I mean, I'm not really sure what happened, but what did they have?
It's been a long-standing beef for a while.
Right. Okay, fine. But then with Quando is a different situation. You know what I'm saying? Is resulted in a loss of King Von, which was revered in Chicago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, okay, if NBA YoungBoy went to Chicago by himself, then, you know, the venue would probably be like, all right, we could, you know what I mean? But with this dude, is like a little different. It adds like a whole nother a level to it. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, 600 Breezy basically said that if that show actually happens, there's going to be so much police presence there that he doesn't expect anything to happen.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
too big of a venue, too big of an artist. It's not like YoungBoy's going to come in with a bunch of his homies.
Right.
He's going to come with actual serious police
Right.
presence, whether he wants it or not. The police are not fucking around. You know, I mean, listen, like Chief Keef can't perform in Chicago because of all the bullshit.
Yeah,
over
but
the
now,
years.
I mean, I think now the level of like, I don't give a fuck is just like a lot more than before. You got people that just don't give a fuck right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they looking at shit like, oh, these people beating their cases, I could beat my case. So you never know. People, these young kids, they'll run in front of a fucking a moving train. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't
Well,
give a
yeah,
fuck.
I mean, and Breezy even said that. He said that someone, in order to touch one of these guys, it would have to be a kamikaze mission.
Right.
It'd have to be like, I'm going to go in and shoot somebody and I'm going to get arrested.
I mean, chances are probably it won't happen, but it could. You never know. You never know what the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. And, you know, I interviewed academics recently,
Right.
and according to him, he feels that the NBA YoungBoy Lil Durk beef hasn't even reached its, you know, height yet. You know, he's worried that at some point one of them is going to either die or go to prison for a long time for it to finally start to simmer down.
The interesting thing about that beef is like we feel like it hasn't reached its ultimate conclusion.
Yeah, I don't think
And
so.
that's the problem.
That's the problem.
And unfortunately, it feels like the ultimate conclusion is one of those guys getting either incarcerated or dying.
Because King Von died at this point, but it's not directly these guys. And, you know, Quando Rondo, his man just got killed. I don't know if you heard about this.
Yeah.
He was in L.A. His car got shot up, and his I think his cousin got
Right.
killed in the process. Not to say it has anything to do with any of this shit, but who the fuck knows? There's a lot of death and shootings and everything else that's happening around this. And
I thought it was over like the checking in thing or whatever.
who knows?
Right, you know.
Who knows? Who knows? But so much fuck shit has happened over this. Neither party wants to talk to each other because everyone feels like they're rich. And, you know, I mean, listen, I get it. There's people. I remember I was talking to this dude recently, this producer I was going to interview, and we were talking about my beef with this other, you know, big podcaster. And
You got smoke?
nah, you know, whatever. But I'm not going to put any names out, but I was explaining the situation to him, and I'm like, and it finally just came down to egos. Basically, it was, both of us were on the phone. Neither person wanted to back down from our stance. You know what I mean? Like,
Was it Adam?
no, it wasn't Adam.
Oh, I think I know who it is.
But
It's Joe
basically,
Button.
no, it's not. Me and Joe Button never got on the phone with each other. But anyways, but it was like you got two dudes who have a certain amount of power, a certain amount of money, a certain amount of fans, and you know, power, clout, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Neither person wants to back down. And then it's a dumb situation, and it continues on. You know, and both people takes little shots at each other over time, and then if we run into each other, who knows
Oh
what
my
happens?
God, it's gonna be up.
Who knows
Yo,
what happens?
imagine. Yo, man, long-standing beef.
But it's not a real beef. But it's not. But the thing is, like a lot of times, it's not even real beef. It's just like
Yeah, it's,
two dudes with egos
Right.
over. Neither person wants to basically humble themselves and say, "Okay, you know something, I was wrong for saying that."
right.
You know,
Sometimes that's all it takes, man.
that's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
Well, I mean, since last time, me and Eneli Chapa, I don't know if you noticed, me and him started going back and forth on Twitter.
I didn't notice that.
Right. Me and him started going back and forth. It was over some of his claims of healing cancer and all this other type of shit.
That's what y'all was beefing over?
It wasn't really, I mean, it was kind of over that. It was basically, he claimed that he could cure Justin Bieber of whatever disease he had. And we did an article about it. And then he was like, "Stop reporting on me, you bitch," or something,
Oh.
chump. And I responded to him. And
What you said to him?
I call him a snake oil salesman.
You call him
A
what?
snake oil salesman.
Oh,
That's basically a scam.
what does that mean? Oh.
It's back in like the 1800s. I think it actually started from Chinese.
You could have came up with a better one than that. man.
Yo, that shit stuck.
It did.
All the motherfucking publications started running this
Oh,
whole
wow.
snake oil salesman
Okay.
thing. Snake oil salesman, he didn't even know what it meant. I looked it up.
They what?
It actually came from like when America was being built, like the Chinese community would actually take real snake oil and sell it as like a you know, cure-all kind of situation. Well, you take snake oil and it'll cure you of whatever ailment you have. And people who basically started selling fake medicines started being called snake oil salesmen, even though they weren't really using snake oil at the
Right.
time.
Like-
So anyways, me and him started going back and forth over Twitter, and like everyone's retweeting the shit and all the blogs are picking up on it. And he was like,
He didn't even know what to respond. He was like, "What the fuck is this snake oil salesman?"
yeah, no, but he's calling me a bitch. I'm calling him a bitch. He's calling me like a bitch ass something, and I'm like, "You're a wannabe something." I'm like, "You're a wannabe NBA
Oh,
young
y'all was
boy."
going back.
We
Oh,
were really
no,
going back
you
and forth.
call him a wannabe
A wannabe,
NBA
and I
young
put the
boy.
pictures next to each other.
Damn.
Anyways,
That hurt. That hurt way more than the steak ulcer.
Possibly. But anyways, we're going back and forth. And at one point he was like, can't wait to run into you. I'm gonna give you a big hug. And my response was like, you don't have to wait to run into me. You could do an interview right now, face to face. If you're man enough to do it.
Wow.
Right? And we left it at that.
And what he say?
He didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't say nothing. But I'm like,
you use that
yo, let's go. Like
Yeah.
if you like, you know what I mean? Like I'm prepared to sit
How
down
many
with you.
views would that have gotten?
Well, here's what happened. I was on the phone maybe a day later with academics, and he was like, yo, I know him. Y'all should just talk it out. Y'all should do an interview. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk it out. Because he's like, yo, like, I know I know Choppa, and his persona in person is actually a very respectful young man. Like, a lot of times he's with his mother who manages him and stuff like that. Like, his online persona is not exactly who he is as a person. So I think the two of y'all would actually have a good conversation. So I was like, sure. So he put us on the phone with each other.
You spoke to him?
And we spoke.
Did you record it?
No. No, I don't record phone calls, man. No, I don't do that fuck shit. I hate when people do it to me.
People do that, man. Like,
yeah.
scary.
I've had it happen to me multiple times, and
Right.
they put it on their fucking YouTube channel. I fucking hate that shit. And a lot of times that prevents people from working shit out, because there's lots of people that I feel I could have a conversation with, but I feel they'll also record it.
Right.
So I don't have those kind of conversations. But we got on the phone, and it was actually really respectful. It was like, yo, we don't agree about certain things, but we also respect each other's opinion. And we made an agreement to actually have an interview like that next week. And he showed up
Oh, yeah, I did the interview.
in this room,
Is out already?
face to face. It's been out.
Oh, shit. Damn, I'm out the loop.
I had 2 armed security.
Did you really?
Guards in the room just in case some fuck shit popped off. But it wasn't like that. It was like, he gave me a hug, like in real life.
He
It was
said,
like,
I
yo,
can't
he gave me a hug.
Okay.
And we talked it out. And it was like,
But it wasn't about nothing. It was about,
some ego shit.
yeah. That's what.
You know, and it really was like,
How did that interview go?
it went great. Millions, like 4 million people watched it.
Yeah.
And if you look all down the comments, everyone's like, yo, man, like, I'm really impressed how these 2 men actually work shit out. Respectfully. You know, and it's not like either one of us really budged off our positions. It wasn't like one of us just bowed to the other person. I was like, listen, like,
Yeah, but y'all also in different places. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he seems like he's still like what you say. He seems like he's a little more reasonable than other people may be. You know what I'm saying? And you are reasonable. You're like Mr. Reasonable, I think, sometimes.
I think so.
Sometimes.
Most times. And yeah, like, you know, my thing was, I respect your intentions over what you do. I just feel like some of these claims of being able to cure things like cancer, which are incurable, by just saying that you cured it, sets up a lot of false hope for people. You know what I mean? It can potentially be dangerous because a lot of people are going through this disease and might be spiritual or might be African American and are looking at you as a beacon of hope, and might stop doing traditional chemotherapy or whatever else because they're believing in what you're selling, essentially, and end up dying in the process.
Right, the snake oil.
The snake oil. Like, I feel that's a dangerous thing. And what I did was, before the interview, I had Dr. Khan, who's this medical doctor from Las Vegas that's been curing, not curing, but been treating patients, especially with COVID and stuff like that, and has been, treating with, cancer patients as well. He made a video basically talking about, hey, listen, this is what cancer is. This is why it's hard to cure. And actually, I do believe, I even tell my patients that certain herbal, herbal things that that NLE Choppa has recommended, some of those actually do help.
I still advocate for people to do things to help with their immune systems, to take herbal medications. It's not just mugwort, but we got garlic, onion, beta carotene, flaxseed, things that people can do in addition to being treated by medications by their physician. So I just, I don't like giving people false hope or a sense of false hope that there's going to be this magic cure for their cancer.
So, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, yo, you're wrong, fuck you. I was like, look, some of the shit you're saying actually has validity and actual medical doctors are co-signing it. But some of the stuff, not so much.
Right.
And he was like, yo, okay, I can respect that.
Right.
And it turned out to be a cool conversation. We still keep in touch. We hugged it out. There's a video of us like with our fists up, pretending to fight.
That's funny.
And yeah, man, like I wish that I could work shit out with more people like that.
Right.
But unfortunately,
who would you work it out with if you
who would I work it out with?
Right. One person that you would work it out with if you could.
It had to be one of those things where, I think with me and Choppa, it worked out because there wasn't a long history of shit.
Right.
Like, I don't think me and Joe Budden will ever work things out and be cool with each other.
Right.
Even though Joe, like on, when Joe did Academics podcast, he said, oh, I'd be willing to talk to Vlad on Academic show. Like, yeah, I'd be open to do it. But then like a week later, he called me a piece of shit over some other shit. And I'm like, why am I going to work it out with this dude when a week later he's now talking shit about me again?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So certain people, I feel like you don't have to work it out with everyone. Some people, you guys just don't get along. You don't have to do business. We could all be successful in our own, in our own field without having to have a conversation, be all kumbaya.
Right.
I feel like with certain people, you could work shit out with them, but in some near future situation, they'll go back to the way they were again. They just don't like you inherently.
Right.
For reasons that you can't talk them out of.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right. Everybody ain't meant to make up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like some people just better off you go that way.
Just keep their distance.
Oh.
And I feel with a Joe, we're really better off just keeping our distance.
Right.
I don't think me and him will actually be friends or business associates or anything else like that. I think we're better off. I have my platform, he has his. The two don't really intersect all that much.
Right.
But yeah, man, listen, some situations are fixable, some are not. And I don't feel the need to try to fix things with everybody because it just, in my,
experience.
In my experience, out of all the years I've been here, I just know you cannot fix things with everybody.
Right.
You might have the best intentions.
And yeah.
But some people, I feel like some people it just runs deeper. It'd be like, some people may just not like Asians.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could be the coolest Asian on the planet. You could break every stereotype. You could talk to the dude. You could help him break through some of his misconceived notions, but there's something inherently in him based on the way he was raised or maybe some experiences he had where he's just not going to be cool with Asians.
Right.
He's not going to have any Asian friends. And ultimately, y'all could become cool and there's going to be one thing that you might say that might trigger him to go right back to the way he was again. And I think there's a lot of people like that. And I've accepted that. What do you think about the whole Benny the Butcher and Freddie Gibbs situation?
With Freddie Gibbs getting jumped at the restaurant.
Well, Benny the Butcher did a video recently where he's wearing Freddie Gibbs' chain.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I think Freddie Gibbs responded and showed a picture that I guess showed that Benny the Butcher's dad is a cop.
Oh, shit.
But then Freddie Gibbs' dad was supposed to be a cop as well.
Wow.
So you got all this cop shit floating around. I don't know whether the pictures are true or not. The whole wearing of the chain thing I thought was a bit weird. Because now you're tying yourself into stolen property.
Right.
Why do you think someone with a fair amount of success like Benny would really do something like that?
I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why he would do something like that. I'm not even sure. No. Was the chain nice?
No, it was like a little chain.
It was a little one.
It was a little chain. Yeah, it wasn't some big chunky.
It wasn't bust down?
No, not really. It was like a little chain.
Oh, like a choker?
Basically, your chain with a smaller pennant.
Oh. All right. Did it look nice on him?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really one to judge men's fashion choices.
Oh, man.
Well, why do you think so many people though? Like, I mean, you've seen that. People get their chains snatched and then it goes on a world tour.
Because it's like a, you know what I'm saying? It's a trophy.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a trophy. Yeah, we get into a fight. I'm coming for you. If you got a chain on and it's on, I'm taking it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just
the
say
trophy is like, yeah, I got your shit. Bitch.
Okay, so let's say this. Me and you get into a fight. You take my chain. Would you show that chain on the internet?
Would I show your chain on the internet? No,
Yes.
I'm not showing your chain on the internet. I'll probably get somebody else to show it though. You show it. Put a mask, put the poo shiesty on.
With a poo shiesty mask on.
Yeah, with the robotic voice. Yeah, man, look, it's your chain. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So even you would cloud chase to a certain degree.
I mean, I wouldn't cloud chase because
That is cloud chasing.
no, it's not.
Having someone else hold the chain that you took from someone.
Well, how is it cloud chasing when the cloud ain't coming to me?
You are showing that a chain you took off of me is being paraded around by people.
But it's not cloud chasing. Cloud chasing is if I insert myself there.
But you
and
are
get the clout.
you're indirectly inserting yourself.
No,
You don't see how that's indirect?
it's not cloud chasing. That's more of like a insult to you. It's more of like a shot to you. You know what I'm saying? If I did that, I'm not gonna hold the chain like
Okay.
oh boom.
You do
But
know
yeah,
you do know what the blogs will post as their headline.
What?
China Max homie holds up Vlad's chain.
But how are they gonna know? I mean, are they gonna know I took your chain?
I mean, there is some level. I mean, let's just say that there. I mean,
In that situation.
In that situation. Okay, in that situation.
Oh yeah, everybody knows. Yeah,
Everyone
I mean-
knows that Vlad and China Mac got into a fight.
No,
And here goes Vlad's chain making its
oh,
rounds.
okay, yeah. No, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that.
Nah, because that's like, here, arrest me. Take me. You know what I'm saying? It's robbery. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is.
Right. I'm not going to do that. But, you know, I don't know. It's weird as hell. Like, people do that all the time. I just don't understand why you would do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, that goes back again to, yeah, clout is a hell of a drug, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's the most powerful drug there is.
Clout is a hell of a drug. People do weird shit for clout. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I'm not gonna say listen, clout is important for certain things, right? But I don't go around chasing the clout. You know what I'm saying? If the clout comes out, if an opportunity comes, falls on my lap, and it's an opportunity to gain some clout and do whatever, okay, we gonna take that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna outwardly and I'm not gonna jeopardize my freedom for the clout. I'm not gonna go against my morals and principles for the clout. And I'm not gonna go around chasing the clout. But if you come and there's some clout involved, we gonna take that. Those tokens is mine.
Okay. I'm sure that at some point you were locked up with people that were in prison because they somehow bragged about their crime.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the internet or to one of their friends.
Even before the social media. Yeah, definitely. A lot of people. Yeah. I know people that was talking about it in jail. Like, yo, I clapped this dude, I shot, and then this dude they're telling to in the bullpen goes and, yo, you know what I got? Yo, turn that.
Get out of jail free card is what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I seen that happen a lot of times.
A lot of times.
A lot of times. People just be bragging. Like, they just want to be known for that. Like, they want people to know that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, there was if you follow the Suge Knight case, his lawyers got caught up because he ended up talking to some dude when he was like, remember he was on trial for the murder of Terry, of Terry Carter. Like, there was a real a lot of the case stemmed on the dude that ended up beating him up, Bone. He claimed the dude had a gun, which is why he ended up running the dude over and ended up killing his friend accidentally. Right? He claimed there was a gun. He panicked. He ran over the dude and whatever. And in the video, it looked like there's a dude that walked up to him and grabbed something that kind of looks like a gun, but you don't know. It's very grainy footage. So he's like talking to some dude in jail who claims like, oh yeah, no, I saw, if you give me some money, I'll say it was a gun. So he's like working with his lawyers to like pay this dude off to say it was a gun, not knowing the guy was an informant the whole time. Placed by the police.
Yeah, that happens, bro.
And then the lawyers try to like make the payoff, and then they all get caught, and now like they're charged with like crimes themselves. Like one of them just pleaded out for like probation, but he lost his law license forever. And the other dude, I think, still has pending charges. So yeah, I mean, this type of shit is crazy. The police actually put in fake prisoners.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if in that case.
In that case, it was an actual police officer pretending to be an inmate.
Oh, and that's crazy.
Does that actually happen in real prisons? Because I remember in Oz, there was a whole storyline around that.
I'm pretty sure it happens. It depends the stature of the person in the case. You know what I'm saying? If they want it bad enough, they gonna try it.
And to think that someone will go undercover in prison, it sounds crazy to me.
I know.
Like, I'm actually going to live in a cell and pretend to be a prisoner.
Sounds like a show.
Well, it was on Oz. There was a character on Oz that did that. Then he ended up getting hooked on drugs himself and then started ended up doing a bunch of fuck shit.
That show?
Yeah, on the show. But like, yeah, I mean, but pretty much, yeah, anyone you talk to, you would think that if they know about a crime and they could just confess and somehow get their time taken off. Yeah. Little TJ got shot since last time. I guess he got shot 7 times.
Yeah.
Did you know TJ at all?
No, I don't know TJ.
To think that in 2022 in New Jersey, this shit could still happen.
It can happen anywhere, Vlad.
Do you feel that things are worse? Like, I mean, you don't live in New York anymore, but you lived in New York most of your life.
Yeah.
And you still go back to New York, I assume.
Yeah, I just was in New York like 2 days ago.
Do you feel that things are worse now in New York, crime-wise?
Well, I mean, from when?
From 10 years ago.
10 years ago? Yeah. Like 20 years ago? 30 years ago? Like in the 90s and shit? No. I think it's probably but it went back to around there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was bad in like the 80s, not like the 90s, like the early 90s. It was bad. Like, you been to Lower East Side?
Yeah.
But Lower East Side, Avenue A, B, C, D, all that.
It was all heroin.
Yeah, it looked like the place in Philly. What's that called? Where in Philly? What's the name of the place in Philly where all the people be shooting up?
Amsterdam?
No, it's called. Yeah, can you find it? It's a place in Philly where all the heroin addicts.
The Badlands?
Huh?
The Philadelphia Badlands?
No, it's another name. But in the comment section.
Well, I looked up the Philadelphia Badlands, the section of North Philadelphia and lower Northeast Philadelphia, is known for an abundance of open air recreational drug markets and drug related violence.
Right. There's another place. It's called something. Kensington.
There we go. Yeah.
Kensington
Drug Market.
Yeah, Kensington. Yo, it was like Kensington, like worse than Kensington. Like Kensington, I walked there. There's people shooting up broad daylight. Kids walking by. They're in front of the car, the mirror. Right there, they're in front of the car mirror shooting up. I'm like, damn, broad day, kids coming from school. It was like that in Lower East Side back then. You know what I mean? It was bad. So I definitely don't think it's like that now. Like, so I don't think it's as worse as the 80s and the 90s, but it's definitely worse than 10 years ago.
And why do you think that is? Because police are scared to get sued and aren't really doing shit as much.
Right.
So how do you feel about that?
They kind of like took their power like a little bit. You know?
So how do you feel about it? You think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think that's not I don't think that's not the answer for the problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, pulling the police out is not the answer for the problem. There's other answers, that addresses the root of the issue.
Such as?
I mean, what's causing all of the crimes and stuff in the neighborhoods, like, like what is going on. So I think that in order for our country to really even make any type of fixing, is like they gotta fix the laws and shit. They gotta change some stuff. Like, all of that, those laws and all that stuff is, everything needs to be refreshed, everything. And I think that because of how our society is, it just takes too much to just change one thing. Like, we all have to agree, and then, you don't agree, I don't agree. Okay, should this table be black or white? Oh my God, that one conversation, that one decision will take like a year to decide. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think, things are really getting done like that. So I don't think that the way our society is right now, by you pulling the police out, is gonna change anything. It's just gonna increase the violence and increase the crime. You know what I mean? But the issues that are causing the root of all of the stuff that's happening in these communities, that's not being addressed. You know what I mean? Mental health is not being addressed properly. The way the poverty and all that, like, that all of that stuff is not being addressed. So I feel like in order for any change to happen, you gotta address that, and not you pulling the police out, ain't gonna do nothing but make it worse.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation because I remember I grew up in the Bay Area, right? And I remember I grew up in San Mateo, and maybe 20 minutes away, there's a city called Palo Alto, which is where Stanford University is. It's where, eventually, Apple, it's where Apple's always been located. Google eventually moved there, all the big tech companies and so forth. But there was always this thing where there was sort of this poor area of Palo Alto and the rich area, and the rich people kind of wanted to separate themselves from the poor area, so they actually split it in two, and you had Palo Alto and East Palo Alto. East Palo Alto, when it got formed, essentially had no police force. So motherfuckers lost their mind. It turned into like the murder capital. It turned into a drug den, like... Most of the shootings and everything that was happening in the Bay Area was happening in East Palo Alto because there was just no police force. And Palo Alto police didn't have jurisdiction there. So they had this tiny little couple cops who really just couldn't do much. And the city just fell into shambles. And it's right next to a really wealthy area. It's really surrounded by wealthy areas.
Right.
So, I mean, me personally, I wouldn't want to live in a city where there's no police. Would
Right.
you?
No.
But yet you don't like the police.
I mean, I don't.
So,
I don't
you
like
see
the
what I'm
police.
saying? But they have a purpose, even if you don't like them.
No, yeah, I'm not saying that they don't have a purpose. I'm not saying that they don't, because in this society, there's a like, they have to be here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're asking me if I would trade it for something else that has a better system, yeah, I would trade that. You know what I mean? Because I don't think that the police really, like, they're the way it's set up, it's not fair. You know what I'm saying? So, but how this system is, how our country is, we need the police.
Yeah.
Because that's just how it's been set up. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that I wouldn't cooperate with the police. I'm not saying that I hate the police or that I don't think that they should exist here. You know what I'm saying? But they have to be here, or else it's going to be crazy. What are you going to do without no police? That's why I don't understand. People were saying abolish the police. Well, what are you going to do when there's no police? Like, what the hell are you going to do?
Yeah, what happens if someone robs your house and you have no one to call?
Right, and now you're seeing that. So it's like that's not the.
You are seeing it. You're right. You're seeing. And I remember hearing these stories about, like, people I know.
But then it's two hands though. So like, check this out. You got one point where when the police was very active, right? They're oppressing though. So these people right here are safe, right? But these people are being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? So you got people planting drugs, planting guns, doing all this crazy stuff to these people, but they're being oppressed. And these people are safe. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now it's like, okay, now you take the police away, right? You take the police away. Now, these people over here, is being affected. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
both of them, it's not right. You know what I'm saying? So it's just another solution needs to be thought of.
Yeah, well, and police revenue comes from taxes. So when you
Right.
go into richer areas the people pay higher taxes in those areas, they have higher, property taxes and stuff like that. Ultimately, you could have a better police force, a bigger police force, better technology. They know that the people they're protecting are paying a lot of money for these services. They also could sue, if they act improperly. It's going to be a lot different than in a poor neighborhood where essentially a lot of the population is on welfare. So no money's really, everything from the police is coming from the state and federal
Right.
level. And they know that the people they fuck with really can't sue them because they don't have any money. And a lot of times the police don't even come from that area. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times people in that community don't want to become police officers. So you have police officers from different areas who may be a different race, don't know about the logistics of how things function. And you get a situation where it's just animosity.
Right.
In New York, I've had bad situations with cops. That was the first time. Living in the Bay most of my life, I've always seen police as an entity that would be helpful. In
Right.
case
So
I
that
ran into
means you was
problems.
over here. You was on this hand.
I was over here.
Yeah.
I get to New York, and I start getting disrespected by police officers for no reason.
Yeah.
But
But that's disrespect. Imagine if it was oppressing. You know what I'm saying?
But isn't disrespect a form of oppression?
Yeah. But
In its
it's
own
different.
way?
I mean, that's probably like the more lighter side of
Of course. Well,
oppression.
for example, I remember when I got arrested for having a suspended license.
But you got people doing life for police
Yo,
planting
listen,
shit on them.
I have not had anything regardless, even remotely close to that. But I remember I got arrested this one time in Manhattan for driving with a suspended license. Police asked me to get out of the car. I said, no problem. And these dudes just slammed me against my fucking
Right.
car. And I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
And he was like,
You're
well, we
killing
don't know what you have. And it's
Right.
like, yo, I've been polite the whole time.
Right.
I've been respectful the whole time. At
Imagine
no
if
point,
you had that experience throughout your whole life.
Yeah.
Well, how would you look at the police?
Very different.
Well, imagine if your brother got killed by police, or
Right.
imagine if your father was killed by police. Like, how would you look at police?
You would hate him.
Right. So, but you never experienced that, so you're
No.
not gonna feel that. You know what I mean? You're gonna look at police like, okay, they're here to protect us.
Right.
But how about these group of people that have never been felt like they've been protected by the police? They felt like actually they've been hunted by the police. You know what I'm saying? So, what was that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just,
Yeah. Hopefully there'll be a better system at some point. Hopefully there'll be more training. Hopefully there'll be more.
probably not.
No?
We're probably fucked.
Do you feel that body cams have made a difference?
What?
Body cams.
No.
No?
I mean, it made a difference in terms of like the, what they can do now. But then now, it still isn't addressing the issue. You know what I'm saying? It's now you're just taking something away, but the issue is still like getting bigger now. So, it's
Well, I think it just comes down to to just human behavior, right? You give someone a gun and a badge, a bulletproof vest, and a lack of accountability for what they do, a lot of humans will take advantage of that.
right. But that, yeah.
People are naturally, if you have an opportunity, if you give this large group of people an opportunity to bully people,
They're gonna do it. Police are game.
and they're protecting each other,
Right, yeah.
they know that their homies are going to stand up for them and say nothing happened. You have there's a term, absolute power, corrupts absolutely. So you're giving people a whole lot of power that a lot of times don't deserve it, that haven't earned that power.
Right.
Like I remember, one of my bad experiences in Brooklyn was I had this car that had like, it was like I was donating the car to charity, but they had not taken the license plate. So I'm like, I went to the police, precinct. I say, hey, listen, I donated my car and I just want to give you the license plate because they forgot to pick it up. And he's like, well, why don't they license plate? What, are you fucking stupid? And I'm like, oh shit. Like, this has never happened to me before.
I'm not even the complexion for this.
I'm like, this fat middle-aged white dude just called me fucking stupid. And I'm just coming here really just doing the right thing, right? I'm just making sure that this car is not, because my thing is like, I just don't want to, I want to make sure the car is not going to be, end up being stolen. You know what I mean? Like report as stolen. So I'm just trying to protect this organization. He's like, what, are you fucking stupid? Why don't you just give it to him? And I'm like,
right.
I was like, yo.
They be having the worst attitudes because they feel like they in power. Like they feel like they have that power.
And I like, listen.
But listen, here's the thing. But that's just not police. People do that. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think a man without a badge would have said that to me. I felt going to DMV, I would not be talked to that way. I would not be talked to that way in the DMV.
The DMV people, they don't really have like power like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, what I say is, when you look at when we're gonna bring it to prison, right? Okay. Prison is an environment within an environment, right? Like a society within a society, right? So in this small society is actually the same functioning things. In the big society is in the small society, just in the lower scale, right? So now here in one part you have the correctional officers, right? And then the next tier is you have the tough guys, like the people that, you know, the guys that have, you know, gang affiliation. They're prisoners, but they're
a certain type of prison.
Yeah, they're on a higher food chain of the prisoners, right? And then you have the lower food chain of the prisoners, right? The higher food chain of the prisoners are always gonna oppress the lower part, the lower of the food chain. It's just how we are as people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just oppression differently. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how prisoners are oppressed is gonna be different. How, like, you know, people, different type of people, like more rich people, more, but there's still that form of, like, you know, it's still that thinking. It's just gonna be done differently.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was an interesting moment because I was like, yo, this dude called me fucking stupid.
Right. You
and
you ain't like
physically
that.
this is a fat
You
out
would
of
have beat
shape
his
dude.
ass. You think you would have beat his ass?
I would have confronted him.
Right.
Absolutely. It really be like, listen, because I'm 6'2", whatever. I was 220 back then. Like, I'm not.
Right.
You know
ain't no
what I mean?
little guy.
I don't get into fights, but I'm not a punk. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? At the end of the
You
day,
ain't no little
I've gotten
guy.
into my share of scraps, you know? And I'm like, and if you know me, I'm confrontational with people. Like, you know what I mean? If I feel disrespected, I'll confront you about that. I'm not going to start punching you, but I will confront you man to man about the shit. I've done that. This is why Vlad TV is where it is, because I'm not scared to confront people. I'm not scared of people. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to back down from people, period.
Right.
So
you got to make sure you have some security in that bitch.
security or not, like, if I feel disrespected, I'm going to confront that person.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, like, he would not say that to me without that gun on his hip, without that gun, and being in the precinct when he feels I'm in his house. He just, man to man, in a one-on-one fight, I would probably beat his ass.
Right.
And he knows it.
Right.
But he's only saying it because he's got a badge and a gun, and he knows that if I confront him, they'll arrest me and throw me in the back.
Right. So
he could say whatever he wants to me. The worst I could do is complain to the sergeant, who probably won't give a shit.
Right.
Which I'm not, which I didn't do.
Right.
I could be a Karen, I guess, but like, no one fucking cares that, someone called me an idiot, whatever. Like, they're like, whatever, we're busy today. So it creates this really foul kind of, just an unneeded animosity. And look, if I was a different person, someone would have been like, he could have just gotten punched in the face. Like, fuck it.
Right.
Arrest me.
It could have been a lot worse, but.
Listen, what I was going through was very light. Getting slammed against the car, getting insulted, do a couple days in the precinct or central booking.
Did you feel like your life was in danger at any one of those times?
No.
Right.
No, not at all. I just felt disrespected and abused.
Yeah.
And the ego was kicking in.
Right.
Was like, how you going to do this to me?
Right.
Fuck y'all. You know?
Right.
I mean, look, I remember being in Mexico in Cancun, walking back from the club a little bit drunk by myself. Me and my friend got separated. Mexican police rolled up on me, threw me up against the car, took my wallet, took all the money out of my wallet, gave my wallet back, and drove off. Robbed by the police.
Right.
You know what I could do in that situation? Nothing.
This is what I'm saying. Like it's you know, that's what it is, man. Like, you know.
Yeah. They took literally all the money I had. I had to go to the ATM and get some more at that point. I basically didn't have enough money. I had to walk back to the hotel.
Right.
And it was like I got robbed by the police. But I was in Mexico. So what was I supposed to do? Go to the precinct and complain and then possibly get put in a Mexican prison?
You take your wallet and you take your ass back home.
Yeah, that's what happened. And they knew they could get away with it because I was solo and
right.
They caught a lick.
Right.
So, yeah, man, it's one of those things where you have lack of accountability and you have people who are given a certain amount of power that probably didn't have it previously and will take their bad day out on you.
Right. Facts.
And I had it easy.
Right.
Getting robbed by the police, thrown against a car, disrespected, all very easy compared to what a lot of people go through.
Yes.
So I'm not complaining at all.
Right.
At all. I'm just saying.
So yeah, you just have to understand, like you have to understand people when people say, oh, you know, all you gotta do is just abide by the police. Yeah, but it's easy for you to say because you never went through what other people had to go through with the police. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for you to be like, oh, all you have to do is just do this. Yeah, all right. But you know, this comes with a lot more than that. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think that the crime now is up because of the police like pulling back in a lot of places. But when that and then now crime is like, at least in like you see in the Bay, you see in San Francisco, you see in New York, it's bleeding into other neighborhoods that it would never bleed into. You know what I'm saying? Even LA and shit, right? So so now it's affecting the more well-to-do people because you got people going into these communities, like they were unheard of going in these communities, but now they're going in there, robbing stuff, on scooters in New York. They're going into like the nice neighborhoods, robbing people, going in houses, all that stuff, right? But so now you see people like the well-to-do people are being affected. You know what I mean? But they didn't care when it was affected. Like, you have to care about, because at the end of the day, if you don't care about that, it's going to come back to bite your ass. You know what I'm saying?
True. Well, hopefully things will be improved at some point, man. We're now seeing more, the over-policing, now the under-policing.
Right.
Let's see if there could be a nice middle ground somewhere.
Or we can move to Africa.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I've been to Africa. It's cool. I'd rather live over here.
You rather live over here? Yeah.
I've tried living in Brazil at one point. It was cool. I like it over here.
Right.
It's what it is. China Mac, always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Until next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace.